What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Hanley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. It is Tuesday, April 4th, 2023, year of our Lord. I got another 6.5 hours of sleep last night. I'm feeling great. I'm hoping that you guys are feeling absolutely excellent and awesome. We got some early risers in the building. Let me go ahead and tap into y'all and see what's happening. Shout out to my first super chat throughout the day. Big M Dub says, great morning. Great morning to you, my friend. Absolutely awesome. I'm happy to have you. Thank you for the first super chat of the day, which is a 2-ball. I appreciate everybody that gives anything. I never ask for it. But for the people that appreciate the information and the entertainment, you hold me down. So I'm absolutely going to acknowledge you. Let me also give a shout out to, before we get started, let me give a shout out to the Cash Apps. Just really quickly, really quickly. Just want to shout out a couple people. Mike, that dude, is in the building. Paula, I had a coaching call with Paula yesterday, and she helped me down. And again, I want to give a shout out to Fantasy Island Girl for the 50 ball. I appreciate you. Thank you for holding me down also. You guys are absolutely awesome. You are phenomenal. You are the greatest audience of all time. Let me make sure that I ask you to hit a like for the YouTube algorithm or dislike. Don't forget the dislikes. Hit a dislike or a like for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so that you can see when I'm going live. Usually it's every morning at about 10:15 Eastern. So I go live every single morning at 10:15 Eastern. We got a great show lined up for you guys as usual. Hopefully it's a teachable moment. And then more importantly, we know that it all comes back down to the money. One thing is for sure and 2 things is for certain. Regardless of how you feel about any subject, whether it's black people, whether it's your job, technology, world relations, so on and so forth, we know that it always comes back down to the money. And so this is the reason why we do the Millionaire Morning Show, so that we can add value into your life, so that we can ensure that you guys are absolutely taken care of. Shout out to Class E Beats is in the building with the 10-ball, early 10-ball, my second super chat of the day. So thank you to Class E Beats. Thank you to everybody that's in the chat that's holding me down. I appreciate you guys. Let me go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. First and foremost, please tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. In addition to that, I would like for you guys to do the thing that's in your own best interest, right? Do the thing that's in your own best interest. And when I say that, I mean that only you know what is best for you. And when I get on these coaching calls, and I'm going to speak on that in a minute, when I get on these coaching calls, a lot of times, the first thing that I do when I first talk to y'all is I try to understand you. I try to figure out where it is that you are in your life, where you come from, what it is that you're looking to get out of these calls. Because only there is no one size fits all solution for everybody. We all different ages, different nationalities, was raised differently, are at different spaces in our life financially. Some of us are single, some of us are married. And so we have to, on an individual basis, figure that out because there is no one size fits all solution to what it is that we're trying to do. Let me give a shout out to the Service USA LLC. Says, good morning, family. Keep these likes up and the dislikes up. Also, let me give a shout out to T Mac is in the building. T Mac said, keep pushing. Keep pushing. Let me also do one more piece of housekeeping. So as of today, all right, as of today, because I see Content Sniffer saying how much these coaching calls cost. Well, as of now, they're not going to cost anything because I am not accepting any more new coaching clients for the next 2 months. I'm going to explain why. I'm not accepting any more new coaching clients. I'm not accepting. Reoccurring, if you already have a call scheduled with me, if you already had a call with me and then I gave you direction as far as homework or different things that we working on, and I told you to reschedule or schedule another coaching session, follow up with me a month or 2 months or 3 months away from now. Those are the only coaching sessions that I am doing until the end of July. Now, why is Anton doing this? Because I have no more capacity. I warned y'all. I told y'all that if you did not get in early, then you were going to miss out. And so I tried my hardest to open up my schedule more, but I'm only one person, and I refuse to farm out what it is that I do for the people. And so as a result, because I don't want to dilute what it is that we do, I have to put new emails and coaching sessions on pause, and I will not be taking any new clients until we open it back up at the end of June, probably. At the end of June. So specifically, what is this, April, May? So at the end of June, probably the beginning of July, I will be making an announcement on when I'm going to open up new coaching sessions or when I have slots available. Because as of right now, we are already completely booked up through July. That's real. My schedule is completely booked up through July. Most of the people that rock with me, they have reoccurring calls because they say, yo, I loved what it is that we talked about. I love what we're doing. And I want to make sure that I set up a session every month. And so it's very difficult right now for me to take on any new clients. All right. So if you have not ever had a call with me before, if you do not have a reoccurring call with me, if I did not direct you and say, listen, make sure that you send me an email and let me know, then I do not have capacity at the moment. And we're going to have to wait until the end of June before I take on any new coaching sessions. All right. So make sure that you guys pay attention, follow directions, tap into the Patreon. I'll be updating the Discord and letting them know first on when the new coaching sessions open up. The Discord, the link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos inside of the Patreon. The link to the Patreon is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I do not have any more capacity at the moment up through July. So we booked up through July. And I'm only doing reoccurring sessions or people that I've already had coaching sessions with. All right. So just a little bit of housekeeping. Again, make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure that you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. We got the Patreon meetup coming up. And then I'm not taking any new emails for coaching sessions for the next 2 months. All right. So that's what we're doing. All right. Let me give a couple more shout outs to the super chats. Shout out to my dog, Mike Jones. Said, morning, Anton. I know I'm late, but towards the end of Saturday's show, you were dropping gems. You never know when I'm going to go live, because I went live impromptu on Saturday and I dropped gems. And the people that caught it. We had, 1,500 people at one point in there, 1,600 people, just impromptu. Just went live on a Saturday on the Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to Mike Jones for the 20 ball. I appreciate you, my dog, for holding me down. Levite Apparel says, amazing information. Got my pen and my pad ready. Y'all ready to cook? Y'all ready to cook? Also, let me give a shout out to my dog, David Mosby. I acknowledge everybody that sent me a super chat. He says, Anton, please link up with me before I ship out. Top of the morning, bag chasers. Got to get to the bag. Got to get to the bag. Got to get to the bag. Make this merch, please, Mrs. Rita. It's coming. It's coming. Suber, send me an email with everybody that's using my content without credit. We will be copywriting them and taking their channels down. Anybody that's using my interviews without credit and then they want to put their own watermark on it or whatever, so on and so forth, don't worry. I got a whole person that I'm hiring just to chase people down that is using my interviews without credit and pretending like it's theirs. I spend a lot of money to make sure that my people is taken care of. I'm spending a lot of resources, and I make sure that I tap into different people in order to make sure that security and everything is taken care of. And I will not have anybody just steal my stuff just for the sake of stealing my stuff in order to get their own stuff popping. That's disrespectful. It's completely disrespectful. So, Suber, if you can send me all of those people, I will make sure that gets taken care of this week. Also, Jalen Hawkins with the 5 ball says, when the details come out for the Patreon meetup, don't worry about it. It's coming. I'm just securing the venue. I'm trying to get a idea of how many people is going to be there, because then that'll determine where it is that we have it at in that specific city and area. So thank you for the 5 ball. Thank you for everybody that continues to hold me down. Let's get into the show. All right. So first and foremost, I woke up this morning to a text message, right? Now, I have multiple different phones. A lot of people know that I roll with multiple different phones in order to be able to get business done on a regular basis. So I woke up this morning to a text message, and the text message said, bitch ass YouTuber defends white girls should be your next title. Now, this text message came at roughly 1:11 a.m. So I listen, when I woke up and I seen it, I giggled. Because I'm like, yo, this person did all of this work in order to get my number and then send me a text message. So first and foremost, one of the things that I wanted to do this morning was I wanted to make this number available for everybody so that when you see this, when you restream it, make sure that you guys contact this person. I also posted it on my Instagram story, but make sure that you contact this person so you can let them know how you feel. All right? Make sure you contact this person so you can let them know how you feel. I'm always amazed, right? I'm always amazed how much energy that you guys would more importantly put into me or how you feel about me, because you had to go through some hoops in order to get this number. The amount of energy that you guys, Bella, don't worry about how many unread messages I got. I get a lot of messages throughout the day. How much energy you guys put into me instead of putting it into your own selves. So, Anton is never one to not be petty. I went ahead and responded to him. And I'm riding in the car and I'm listening and I'm having a good time or whatever. And I responded to him. I said, listen, he said, bitch ass YouTuber defends white girls should be your next title. I said, why your daddy didn't defend his legacy by making sure that your mother ain't swallow instead of getting pregnant with you? Honestly, like, I'm genuinely curious. If we gonna have a conversation, well, let's text back and forth. Let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. But since we talking about being defenders, let's talk about it. I just want to text back and forth. I want to kick it with you. I want to understand you. I got questions just like you got questions. You got suggestions. I got suggestions. I see you rocking with the Android joint. You know what I'm saying? I got the iPhone. You got the Android. So now I'm curious. Then they didn't want to respond to me. Then they want to act like they didn't hear me. Why your mama didn't swallow because your daddy don't like his legacy in order to ensure that she didn't get pregnant with you? Where y'all think I'm from? I'm from Detroit. Me and Rita was cracking up. I'm from Detroit. Like, listen, I come up in an era where I was the first generation that was raised on Xbox Live. When Xbox Live came out, listen, I'm telling you, them people, them kids and grown men that was on Xbox Live that thought that they IP address was safe and that they couldn't talk to you a certain they could say whatever they wanted to say. Boy, they called you all kind of N-words and cools. They hit you with the hard ER on the end of the NIGG. I mean, them kids and grown people, when you would whoop on them in Call of Duty or Rainbow Six, or my personal favorite was Tom Clancy's gosh, I remember it. I forgot what the name of it was. When you would whoop on them or you would beat up on them in 2K or whatever like that, they would hit you with the hard ER. What y'all experiencing now on the internet, and you can really, really find people and all of that other type of stuff now. You can report this type of stuff if it turns into a threat to the federal authorities and things like that. What y'all experiencing now is nothing. Y'all light work. Whatever y'all put in the comments and all of that type of stuff, it's like, yo, y'all messing around. What we was dealing with back in the day, Splinter Cell, Tom Clancy Splinter Cell. Yeah, Splinter Cell. That's what we used to rock out with. Back when it was good, and so you had the 2v2, and you had to actually infiltrate inside it. Don't worry about it. I'm a nerd. You had to infiltrate inside, and you had two mercenaries, and you had two spies. Man, you would work on them, and then you would, you know what I'm saying? We had real clans, and you would team up, right? Yo, some of the stuff that we got called in real life, y'all do realize that I went to Detroit public schools in elementary school, and then I went to a majority white Detroit private school that cost a lot of money. So when the white boys would get mad, they would tell you what they really thought about you. They'll tell you what they really thought about you. And so when I see certain things like this, I know you wasn't raised by your daddy. I know you wasn't raised by your daddy. And I know that your daddy didn't pull out. He didn't pull out. And he was not responsible. He did not have a level of dick discipline. And so that's why you're here at 1 o'clock in the morning, at 1:11 a.m., sending me random text messages. And you had to work to get that number in order to feel a certain type of way about it. What we doing, y'all? What we doing, y'all? I had to walk through some of the most crazy jump out raid bands coming out up on the street life. I got carjacked by dudes that I grew up with. They tried to kill me. We dodging bullets. We getting into street fights. I showed y'all where I grew up at. I showed y'all what my current, the house where I was raised in, what it looked like. We walked through the hoods. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. And then we was the first generation that was real gamers, online gamers. And so when Xbox Live came out, we experimenting and we hearing all kind of egregious shit. I'm like, yo, is this what Xbox Live is about? And so my whole life, listen, when we came up, we didn't get whoopings with belts. We got whoopings with extension cords, fam. Extension cords. Straight off the iron. Straight off the iron. When you got a whooping when I was coming up, It wasn't no welts that healed tomorrow. It was called your back was bleeding through your shirt. But the whooping didn't come with your shirt on. The whooping came with your shirt off. I'm not sensitive. I'm passionate. It's a difference. I'm built like that. I'm not I don't come from this era where you got a participation trophy. Either you win or you lose. Either you win or you lose. I had my half of my lip was hanging off from some stuff that came through in the hood. It literally, if you look deeper, if you actually remove some of my beard, which is one of the reasons that I keep a beard, it's like my half of my lip was ripped off. My knuckles, you can look at my knuckles. If you look at the bruises all over my knuckles, we scrapped when we came up. It's different. I don't have, beautiful skin on my knuckles. All of my stuff is toe up. I got bruises and bumps, and I fell off the roof when I was little. I fell off the roof again when I was building a restaurant. They took me straight to the hospital when I got out the next day, and we was back building a restaurant. I'm not tripping off of none of this. I was conditioned for it. I was raised in it. I was molded by my environment. We came up in the first generation of gaming, so I seen some of the worst shit. I heard some of the worst shit. I've seen it on both sides. I've seen it from white people. I've seen it from black people. I understand the nature of people. And so as a result, when I see all of this nonsense that's happening, not only on the internet or when y'all feel safe because y'all can send a text message, it tickles me. It tickles me. Now, what is the point that I'm trying to make here, guys? What I'm trying to tell y'all is that you're going to have to develop, and I'm not talking to the haters. I'm talking to the people the saints. I'm talking to the saints. I'm talking to the progressives. I'm talking to the people that's actually trying to do something, that's building, people that have families, people that are hiring people. You're going to go through some things that's going to test your resolve and your willingness to continue along your path of whatever that purpose is that God has set before you. This is not for the weak. It's not for the weary. So you're going to have to condition yourself to have tougher, thicker skin, a long-term vision for what it is that we're doing. Because what we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're not here to appease people. We're here to turn over the tables inside of the tabernacle and say, y'all are doing it fucking wrong. We're not here to be liked. We're not here to be loved. We're here in order to get the results. And so anybody that's ever been through anything or built anything, whether you got a business, whether you had to struggle through college in order to get to the highest ranks of whatever it is that you're supposed to do in your field, if you had to climb the corporate ladder, if you've had to do anything, if you got a family, meaning that you had to make sure from scratch that you built this foundation for your daughter and your son and your wife to be able to stand on your back in order for them to be able to get to where it is that they need to get to. If you've ever did anything, 80% of millionaires in this country are new millionaires. If you've ever built anything in this country, you know how hard it is. You know what you had to go through. It ain't for you to have to justify yourself for somebody else to understand your story. Only weak people are looking for understanding. Let me say it one more time for you. Weak people are looking for validation. That's why they want you to acknowledge their pain. That's why they want you to acknowledge what it is that their ancestors went through, because they didn't even go through it. They want you to acknowledge what the people that was better than them, people that came before them, actually did real shit. They don't do shit. They don't take care of their families. They don't vote. They're not participating in their own communities. They won't even snitch on the criminals in their own neighborhoods. And they want you to sit here and acknowledge what it is that their ancestors went through when they won't even acknowledge it themselves by being better versions of themselves. This ain't for them. This is for you. This is to let you know that the loudest people in the rooms are often at times the worst people for it. And so at some point, you're going to have to stand up. You're going to have to gird up. You're going to have to get your thick skin on and stop worrying about what other people think, because cancel culture with the black community ain't real. They don't even have no power. They have no power to take care of themselves. Every day they worried about whether or not they're going to get laid off. We're not worried about them. Stop worrying about what other people think about you and start doing what you're supposed to do in order to fulfill your purpose on this earth. You think that Jesus didn't know that everybody hated him, that he was coming down here to save? He said, I can call legions of angels right now to take me up back to my Father. But he sat there and he dealt with it. He endured it. He had people on his own team turn against him, smited him, denied his name 3 times, sold him out for pieces of silver. And you sitting here whining about what somebody else is doing to you or what they saying on the fucking internet? You know what you had to go through in order to be successful? You know who turned on you all across the way? Your mama wasn't even there for you. Your daddy wasn't even there for you when you still survived. You still did it. You became a better person as a result of it. And then you turned around and said, I'm not going to raise my son and my family the way that I was raised. You know why? Because you're special. You're chosen. You're supposed to be somebody different than what it is that they're trying to turn you into. So don't sit here and tell me that you went through all of it just to give it up now. If they was going to get you, then they should have got you before you became who you are right now. If you was going to give up, then you should have did it way before when you first started the journey. Don't go through everything that you went through now just to give up on the end. That's like going through college and then giving up on your career. So you're going to incur all of the debt. You're going to deal with all of the racism. You're going to deal with all of the problems. And then you're going to sit here and depend on somebody else for a handout. That ain't you. This message ain't for the people that don't get it. This is for the people. This is for the few. This ain't for the majority. This ain't for the few. This is for the few. This ain't for the majority. This ain't for the people that's complaining. This ain't for people that's sitting there asking for acknowledgement. This is for the builders. I've never seen a nigga on a construction site asking for acknowledgement for what it is that he built. You know what he do? He build. Because that's what he here for. That's his purpose. He don't sit there and complain. He moved the fucking chairs. And then his success is often a reflection of his efforts, which is why the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. It don't say seek validation from the black community. It don't say look to your family in order to appreciate you. It don't say ask Biden for a handout. It says seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you. I'm not rich because I'm looking for your validation. I'm rich because I do what the fuck I know I need to do, and then the money comes along with it. The success comes along with it. And so we're here to build. We're here to take care of business. We're not here to sit here and validate ourselves for a bunch of people that don't mean shit. We gonna do the thing that's in their best interest when they don't even know that they got their best interest at heart. They don't even know what they supposed to be doing. They have no clue on what success looks like. They don't know what the path is to success. They ain't never felt it. They ain't never seen it. They ain't never made a sacrifice in their life. But guess what? It's not about them. It's about what it is that we doing, even though it benefit them. It ain't for them. It's for you. We're not doing it for them. We're not doing it in order to validate ourselves for them. Even when they spit on you, even when they say some of the most negative, egregious shit about you and your family and your wife and your kid, it ain't about them. So find out how it is that you can dig deep inside of yourself and then continue along your path and stop worrying about what everybody else think about you. You doing things as much greater than anything that they ever did in their life, and they gonna benefit as a result of it, and they're not gonna thank you for it, and they're not gonna appreciate you for it, and it's okay. Because your reward is something else much greater than anything a man can give you. I don't walk around scared. I don't have no fear in my heart. I know that God got my back. You think I fear death? I don't fear no man. I don't fear nothing. I don't fear anything. I have no fear in my heart. You know why? Because I know that it's something that's much greater than me that got my back. Ain't nobody ever stopped me from doing nothing. Not one point in my life. It ain't nobody and no man on this earth that can sit here and tell me what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, because I sit here and I pray to God every single morning. I ain't worried about what nobody think about me. I ain't even worried about if they appreciate what it is that I'm doing. I'm worried about what it is that I need to do before my time is up on this earth. And you need to stop worrying about what everybody think about you. If your wife ain't with you, fuck her. Bring her along and drag her monkey ass down the street along with you until she get her life together.
If your family don't support you, then fuck them. You build that business by yourself, and then you give the blueprint to somebody else on how it is that they can do it. You're going to be known by your fruits. You're not going to be known by what it is that you say on this earth. Never in the Bible did he say that what it is that you talk about is what the thing that you're going to be held accountable for. He said that what your fruit is, the fruit that you bear, what your tree is going to be, meaning that you have to be the trunk. You have to be the roots. You have to dig deep down in your soul and make sure that you set them roots within that ground so that nothing and nobody can shake you. Nothing can uproot what it is that you got going on. It don't matter if it's a tornado or a hurricane that come through here. You got fruit to bear, and if you're not grounded and if you're not focused on what it is that you're supposed to do, then you're not going to fulfill your purpose, and somebody else going to have to pick up the slack after you. And that's not what we doing no more. We not making excuses. We not begging for handouts. We not waiting on nobody to give us nothing. We going to build this shit one brick at a time, one person at a time, one subscriber at a time, one issue at a time. We're going to solve that shit. And it's going to start with us looking in the mirror instead of looking out the window, waiting on somebody in order to acknowledge us and make sure that we feel good about ourselves. We're not worried about that. The world has left you behind. The world has left the black community behind. They're not worried about what you think about reparations. They focus. They working together. That's what they doing. You think that they worried about you? Do you think they give a flying fuck about you? You think they care about what you think? Build, work, grind, hustle, so that somebody can take the blueprint after you. It's not always about following what everybody else does. It's about creating the pathway for somebody to come behind you to stand on your shoulders. We are so weak, coddled, weak generation, easily angered, easily bothered. Let your emotions decide your path and your actions. Your girlfriend told you that she felt a certain type of way about you, and now you emotional about it. Man, fuck your feelings. Get up, put on your big boy pants, gird up, get ready for war, and understand that it's going to be a bunch of arrows that come in your way. We cool with that. We built for that. Everything that you went through in your childhood, it wasn't because you was neglected. It was because God wanted you to go through it so that you can be ready for what it is that he had for you later on in life. You thought that your parents abandoned you. It wasn't up to them. You thought that the people abandoned you. It wasn't up to them. You thought that you was a bad person or that you just caught the bad end of the stick because you was born in the hood or because this person did you dirty or because that woman did you dirty. It wasn't because of them. It was because you had a purpose on your life, and in order for you to get to this next level, in order to give somebody the game, you had to go through it first. You're blessed. You're not cursed. You're blessed. God looked out for you. He put you in a position of power. He allowed for you to go through it so that somebody else wouldn't have to. You're blessed as a result of it. Take your blessings, lean on them motherfuckers, and then do the work. Do the work. Stop whining. Fuck them. Let them send 1,000 text messages. Fuck them. Let them do all of the things that they can do to you. Fuck them. Fuck everything and everybody that's standing in your way. If you got to go it alone and do that shit. Do that shit. Let's get it. Let's get it. Fuck that. If you got to partner with somebody that don't look like you in order to get the resources and bring it back to the people that you actually care about the most, then make the sacrifice because everybody else is doing it. Make the sacrifice. Don't sit here and complain about the white corporate power structure when you have the ability to climb the ladder. Yeah, you may have to study longer. You may have to endure longer. You may have to perform at twice the speed or twice the effort or twice the results of whatever it is that somebody that don't look like you. Okay, do it and then kick in a door for somebody else to come behind you and make it easier for the people that come after you. That was the lesson that the ancestors left us. They gave us the blueprint to be able to do it, and we forgot it because we were so busy caught up in what it was that they were saying and not paying attention to the things that they actually did. That's what life is about. It's not about being fair. It's about sacrifices. We're blessed. We're a chosen people. And the minute that you stop whining about it and put your crown on instead of waiting on somebody to save you is the minute that you then become the king that you're supposed to be. Then we can acknowledge you. Until then, shut the fuck up and do something, my nigga. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. Honestly, I'm genuinely sorry because I had a whole nother show lined up for y'all today. I gotta go back and acknowledge these super chats. Give me a second. Just give me 1 second. Give me a second. Because I want to acknowledge all of the super chats. I don't take for granted the things that y'all do and how y'all support the platform. I don't ask for anything. But I'm definitely not gonna not appreciate and support everybody that gave. I don't worry about what everybody else think about me. The only thing I care about is winning. Give me a second, y'all. Only thing I care about is winning. I guarantee you this. I guarantee you this. At the end of the day, nobody is going to remember all of the conversations that was happening in the comments. You know what they're going to remember? They're going to remember whether or not you actually executed and did the thing that you were supposed to do in order to be successful. Your legacy will be defined by what it is that you do, not what people said about you. That's what your legacy is going to be defined by. It's not going to be defined by what people thought about you. It's going to be defined by what it is that you did and whether or not you actually stood on your square. That's what makes men great. It's doing the things that you don't want to do when you don't want to do it, even when everybody else is against you. That's what makes men great. It's not about what it is that people said about you. It's whether or not you're fruit, whether or not you bear fruit. Hip Hop Astrology TV says, I'm a bag chaser. Salute, I'm a bag chaser. With you. Join last week. Please peep Hip Hop Astrology TV and put your genius to it. Let's do something. Shout out to Hip Hop Astrology TV. I appreciate you, big dog. And salute to all of the new bag chasers and the bag chasers that have yet to join the Patreon. As you may hate me when you first find out about me. You may not like some of the things that I say, but if you stick around long enough, you'll understand that I'm actually helping you. I'm not hurting you. Lamar Black Attack with the super chat. I appreciate you. Says, thank you for being you. Thank you for rocking with me, my friend. I appreciate you. I promise I'm going to get to every super chat. I don't miss none. Shen C, shout out to you. Says, Anton Bame, there's a storm coming to YouTube. And I am him. Levi DePiro also says, remember the extension cord days. Also ran like, it was different. I was raised different. I was built different. I came up under a different regime. And so my people, it was a blessing. God looked out for me. Says Woke Quill, they didn't fight this hard for Shanquilla, though. They still not. They ain't said nothing. They ain't even called their legislative branches. Jay Benji with the 2 ball says, Anton's preaching, tired of the victim Olympics. Shout out to you. Bluff City Nerd says, I needed to hear this. Salute from Memphis, Tennessee. Salute to my Memphis people. I love y'all. I rock with y'all. Big M Dub says, in his bag this morning. I'm trying. Rise and Grind, just supporting the movement. Love the passion and the purpose. Thank you, Rise and Grind. Cam Up Podcast with the fire emojis and the 5 ball. Thank you. Big Podcast says, go through it to grow through it. Yeah, we doing it so that somebody else don't have to go through it in order to continue to win after us. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my dog Brock. Says, y'all better hit that collection plate with the 5 ball. Thank you. You always supporting me. Big Rig Jew Martin says, you got my soul receiving the info I needed. Thank you, my friend. D-Rec Music is in the building with the 5 ball. Thank you. Darnell Nelson says, facts, brother, spit that knowledge. Let's see who we got here. We got a lot of new YouTubers, a lot of new super chats. Nick Tate Stevens says, preach Anton, salute, bro. E.T. the man Williams says, just stopping by to show some love. Keep cooking it up. Thank you, E.T. Eileen M says, thank you for being you. I learned so much from you and the other bag chasers. I needed to hear this today. Some of us need this thing in our spirit that allows for us to be able to really continue to carry on. Some of us were at our wits' end. Some people was ready to give up. And sometimes we just need somebody else to show us that it ain't your time to give up. You got a lot more to do. You got a lot more to survive through. I'm going to be honest with y'all before I read the rest of these super chats. When my father died, I thought that, because that was my best friend at the time. And I was thinking to myself, I've already achieved,
certain levels. I've done certain things. There's nothing else for me to do. And I was sitting in the car, and I remember I was on Highland Road, which a lot of people call M59 here in Michigan. And I was sitting in front of a store, and I was just, I was talking to God, and God was like, listen, it's not your time. It's not your time yet. It's not your time to give up. It's not your time to rest. It's not your time to be able to retire and just go off into the sunset or just sit there with your family and have a conversation. If I don't make that adjustment then, after what God told me, I'm not sitting in front of you right now having this conversation. So, Dame Dash, winners win and losers lose. That's a fact. Everton B, shout out to you for the 2-ball for holding me down. Crown says, nah, don't apologize. This is why we rock with you, Anton. Always coming through with that real talk. Respect. Shout out to you, my friend. Miss Bliss says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You're more than a conqueror, Anton. Let's go, disciple. Shout out to Miss Bliss. My dog, Michael Morris, is in the building. Says, just have to say thank you for the word just now. I've been going through a lot, and everything you said is what I'm beginning to understand. Stick with it, y'all. Stick with it, y'all. Stick with it. Brandon Oliphant, thank you for the 20-ball. Thank you for everybody that donate to the platform. Says, I'm behind in the stream. Your opening sermon hit hard. Appreciate you, brother Anton. Real talk. Thank you. And thank you for the 20-ball and continuing to hold me down. My dog Aaron is in the building. Says, I use history for root cause analysis so I don't repeat the past and win faster and better. People just want to complain and not execute solutions. I agree with you 100%, Aaron. I agree 100% with that. Let me get to a couple more super chats, then we're going to get into the show. Because we do have a whole show for y'all today, and I'm not going to miss out on that. The High Table says, can you clip that message? Keep up the good fight. Yeah, I dropped that for y'all probably tomorrow. I dropped that for y'all as an individual clip tomorrow, and then I'll let y'all share that. Shay Cal says, igniting the flames today, bro. Thank you, my friend, and thank you for the 5-ball. Thank you to everybody that contributes to the platform, that holds me down, that's continuing to do great things. I see a lot of y'all sending me cash apps. Deshaun Rose sent the 5-ball, says, for a great topic. Don't catch you live much. Thank you for the super chats, the cash apps, and all of the text messages that y'all sending me. Let's get into the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's cook. So, first and foremost, McDonald's is preparing for layoffs. It's going to get rough out here. This is just the beginning. McDonald's is preparing for layoffs. Let's go ahead and get into the story. And then we're going to get into it. We got Dr. Umar Johnson speaking specifically about Kamala Harris coming up next.
McDonald's reportedly planning a restructuring. The fast food giant closed all its U.S. offices temporarily this week in preparation for incoming layoffs. And that's according to a report from the Wall Street Journal. Yahoo Finance's Brooke DePalma, she has the latest.
Good morning, Jared. Well, certainly some disappointing news coming out of McDonald's this morning. Wall Street not reacting too much in opening. Shares mostly flat here, but that's right. The burger chain is reportedly planning to lay off both U.S. and international employees this week. In an internal memo obtained by Wall Street Journal, the company said employees should work from home Monday to Wednesday of this week while they deliver those staff change-ups and layoffs virtually. Now, the decision.
Now, first of all, I got to appreciate you, Ash, and everybody that contributes to the platform. I will be reading super chat shortly. I'm highlighting all of them. I never forget one. Sometimes I make a mistake, but excuse me for making a mistake, but I never forget one. Shout out to Life 11. I appreciate you. A lot of people don't realize, first let's mind it out this way, right? Because a lot of y'all, when y'all think of these places, when you think of Walmart, when you think of McDonald's, when you think of Burger King, when you think of whatever your favorite place is, you think of fries, burgers, shake, McDonald's machine never working, franchisees. I think of Ray Kroc when I think of McDonald's specifically. And a lot of these things come into our minds, right? One thing that I have a conversation with in a Patreon with a lot of people is that there's a lot of opportunity working for these organizations, specifically on the corporate side. And you don't hear a lot about the corporate side, even though that's where the majority of the innovation, and they're willing to pay a lot of money as a result of it. One of the paths that I took in my life was I had got an offer after the University of Michigan to work at Google, and then I also got an opportunity to work at Comerica Bank, right? Now, Comerica Bank is a legacy company. A legacy company specifically is a company that has been around for an extraordinary amount of time that may be looking to innovate some of the things and the technologies that they have within that organization because they realize that they have to do so in order for them to survive in this new age, right? You got to create applications. You got to, be able to move certain things over into the cloud. We got to go through user experience and better to understand exactly what your customers want, whether that be at the ATMs or you going into the branch. How many branches should you have? Should you have virtual branches? Do you have to build out an organization or a tech team in order to ensure that you become successful? That's based off of what it is that they do at Google. So I went out to Mountain View, California, and I quickly realized that the offer was less than stellar. It wasn't that it wasn't more money, but there was less upside as far as opportunity, and more importantly, the cost of living offset whatever it was that I was being offered at Comerica Bank, in which I would only have to travel back and forth to Dallas occasionally, but more importantly, it was where I didn't have to uproot my family. And so I made a strategic decision that allowed for me to be able to go up in corporate America a lot quicker and make way more money because I was able to negotiate my salary differently as far as it being incentive laden based off of my performance instead of just going with whatever the big name is. I've done shows in the past years ago where I've highlighted the different pay packages that places like Walmart corporate and things like that are offering to employees in order to entice them to come and work for them instead of going over there and working for the big tech companies like Uber, Tesla, Google, Apple, and so on and so forth. And so you can make a lot more money by improving your skill set. And the reason why I always say, regardless of how many layoffs is happening over at Google or whatever, so on and so forth, or in Amazon, you having that skill set will enable you to always be able to be in a position to make money, as well as continue to make money long term over in organizations that you may not necessarily even consider, because the only thing that you thought of when you first started that company was fries, burgers, shakes. You wasn't really understanding exactly how they do things at Hamburger University over there in Illinois. You wasn't taking in consideration possibly working for corporate. And there's a lot of opportunities that are available. And so when you see this, when McDonald's says, yes, we're shutting down offices in order to prepare for layoffs, it's unexpected and you just really never thought of it because you never considered how many employees that McDonald's has worldwide that's not necessarily tied to the franchise themselves. A lot of people are not even really familiar with how these corporations make money. Y'all not familiar with how McDonald's make money. You don't know what percentage of sales and gross revenue goes back into the company, and then what percentage of that is dedicated to advertising, and then, whatever it is that they pay in their sponsors or all of that type of stuff. A lot of people are just so in the dark about how money works, how money is moved around, how it is that they've managed to be able to be successful and have the second highest grossing sales behind Chick-fil-A, even where it is that they design. It's a whole team that's dedicated for the user experience and designing their drive-through process in order to more efficiently get cars in and out, which then benefited them during the pandemic. But let me continue.
To lay off those employees virtually, part of that reason was due to this being
a lot of people say that McDonald's makes money off of real estate. No, McDonald's holds real estate, which allows for them to ensure that their franchisees is not fucking up some like Subway. You go into a Subway, they're in there selling burgers and shit because the franchisee don't give a fuck and they just trying to sell as many licenses as they can. McDonald's does not make money off of the real estate. McDonald's owns the real estate, which is what they then lease to the franchisee. But McDonald's also makes money off of the gross sales. They force you to give a percentage of your gross sales back into the company, and then they also are the ones that give you the products. They selling you the products that you then go over there and sell to your customers. So it's a lot of different ways in which McDonald's makes money, but they don't necessarily make money off of the real estate themselves. McDonald's owns some of the most valuable real estate in the United States of America. Y'all need to go back and actually read and understand the companies. Now, when y'all get on these coaching calls with me, when I go through these processes of helping you to understand how it is that you're supposed to look at these companies in order to be successful, these are the type of things that I'm talking about. You have to understand the company and understand where they get the majority of their revenue from, not just invest in it because it's a big name. But let me continue.
High travel weekend with most of their employees off. Now, employees who will be out of the office, who will not have access to their computers, were actually encouraged and asked to provide personal contact information in which they will be contacted if, in fact, they are impacted. Now, with this, the company also reportedly told employees to cancel all in-person meetings with vendors and outside parties at its headquarters. But, Jared, it is unclear what teams will be impacted, how large or small this impact will be. And Yahoo Finance did reach out to comment to McDonald's and received no comment.
And Brooke, this comes against the larger backdrop. Walk us through what we have heard so far from the company over the course of this year.
That's right. Well, let's take from a Wall Street perspective. Shares are mostly flat this year, but the larger revamp is really the bigger backdrop that we're taking a look at when it comes to McDonald's. They're aiming to hone in on restaurant growth, operation efficiency, effectiveness, and innovation here. So back in January.
So let me give you a translation from a C student's perspective, okay? When they use these keywords, these buzzwords, let me break it down for you. Innovation means that they're trying to depend less on workers that's sitting here asking for $15 and $20 an hour in order to be able to take your order and fuck it up when it is that you come in, right? They're looking to have and develop and use more technology and machines in order to have predictive learning of what it is that you're going to order before you order it. They're testing new technologies. They're also looking to improve efficiency as far as adding more value into their franchisees, which means that they're spending more money on the technology side and they're moving away from the things that they used to do from a legacy perspective. So, for example, they have McDonald's test locations where there's not even a person in the location outside of the people that oversee what's happening in the cook area, in which you can order your stuff and you never literally have to deal with a person. If you go into a McDonald's today, right? Most of the people don't even go up to the counter, but when they order, they're training people to order different things and go through the process through their applications, right? You can order on your app and then get there and then get your order without even really ever dealing with a person. They're training people to go in and manage through the kiosks in order to do so. And so they're leveraging technology to phase out all of the problem and the issues, which is one of the reasons why I keep telling y'all that even the base jobs in which used to be for people that were getting out of high school or summer jobs and stuff like that, those are all going away. It's all going away. And so all this comes back down to is that it doesn't matter how much you protest. You protesting, and this is what I keep trying to tell black people, you protesting gives them better insight into what it is that they need to focus on from an innovation perspective so that they don't have to deal with you going forward. When you sit there and say every company should be able to pay a worker a livable wage or they shouldn't be in business, they say, okay, well, we're going to minimize the amount of workers that we depend on, and then we're going to give a couple different people jobs in order for them to be able to manage certain things, and they're going to get a livable wage, and whereas it took you 20 people to do one thing, now it's going to take you 3. And so they're continuing to cut costs, raise prices. Hopefully they raise quality as a result of it because these are the intentions of the company. And then they're going to do a mass layoff that then removes more jobs, which then trickle down into the economy. And then it hollows out the middle class because they need less of you to do more of what it is that they need to do, which is sell more burgers, focus on frontline growth, innovation, tech, all of those things. That's basically what's happening, okay?
January, the company announced accelerating the
Read
Arches
Super Chat
2.0.
shortly.
That's sort of a revamp, a second innovation of their accelerating the Arches 1.0. In addition to that, as part of it, they added a fourth D, that fourth D driving restaurant growth, and they also announced accelerating the organization ATO. Now, as part of that, CEO Chris Kempczinski sent out a memo back in January saying, quote, as part of this work, we will evaluate roles and staffing levels in parts of the organization, and there will be difficult discussions and decisions ahead. We expect to finalize and begin to communicate key decisions by April 3rd. Now that brings us to today. The memo later on went to say that the company is divided in silos with a center segments and markets. And that approach is what they say outdated and self-limiting. Now this comes as that restaurant growth background is a large plan for 2023. The company plans to open 1,900 restaurants and new locations, that is, this year. 400 will be in the U.S., Canada, Australia, and Europe, 900 in China, that is. So certainly betting big there. The company also tapped the Chipotle exec who was coined with innovation and growth at the company. So certainly bringing that here. And in terms of a larger macroeconomic backdrop, Chris Kamchensky said on the call that lower income consumers are trading down, spending less at their stores.
Which means that they have to increase efficiency so that they can get the prices down in order to account for inflation, because the cost of being able to buy food is skyrocketing, and the cost of materials, farming, the whole 9 yards, which they're basically trying to control everything that goes into, making that burger and getting it out to the consumer. So from the customer service to the farming to the ingredients to what it is that they pay the farmers, whether or not they own the farms, whether or not they can develop menus, healthier menus. How can they reuse certain ingredients in order to make other stuff so that they can control costs? Because the more that they make one particular thing, the more you drive out the cost. Innovation is always going to be key, right? You're never going to protest your way to the top. You're never going to bully somebody into giving up their profits in order to ensure that you feel better about whether or not you can feed your family. What I'm telling you is that it's going to continue to get worse before it gets better. They don't start rehiring employees. If you want to pay attention to what innovation is, study Ford Motor Company all the way from the 50s and the 60s up until now. Look at how many people it took to make a car versus where the high-paying jobs are now. The high-paying jobs are in maintenance, electricians, robotics, software engineering. Within those organizations, Ford Motor Company is spending over $1 billion in order to refurbish the train station that's right up the street from here on Michigan Avenue in order to make it an oasis so that they can have their software engineering teams and their innovation teams spending more time within that collaborating versus the manufacturing process. The manufacturing process will continue to be streamlined. There will be less and less workers in order for you to be able to do the same jobs. And you're not going to be able to just come out of high school and get a regular job anymore. That's the truth. So let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to get into Umar Johnson. Shout out to E. Asarabo says, I appreciate you, Anton. Your message resonated with me. I needed to hear this. Thank you. Thank you, my friend, and thank you for the 10 ball. I appreciate you. Oh, Ash. Shout out to Ash, my dog. Ash says, Anton, you already know. Keep doing God's work from Chi-Town to Detroit Brothers in the house. Lastly, thanks for not throwing Just Pearly things under the bus. Retired USAF. I don't switch up on the people that I rock with. I don't switch up on my people, Ash, and you know that. I don't switch up. We do the same thing that we was doing yesterday, that we did today, that we did tomorrow, and I appreciate you for holding me down, and for all of my people that recognize that loyalty is something that you can't buy regardless of what side of the fence that you stand on. We stand on it. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you for always holding us down and for the 100 ball. What is this? I'm going to just say Life 11. It's pronounced, Ife 11. Ife 11. All right, Nigerian, a.k.a. Yoruba, Angel. Stay on it, fam. It's our B-Day month. Shout out to all of the Aries in the building. Shout out to Ife. I appreciate you, my friend, and thank you for correcting me. Shayla M is in the building, says, keep snapping on them. They got to hear this. Shout out to my girl, Shayla. I appreciate you, Shayla. On the Way Up podcast is in the building, says, I thank God for you, bro. I appreciate what you're doing. I met you before at Fifth Tavern, and I know exactly who you are. Said, I met you before at Fifth Tavern. I'll be out in the streets. I'm really out in the streets. I don't be hoodied down and none of that. I'll be a regular person. And anybody that's ever met me in person will tell you that I am one of the realest people ever. And when you see me in the streets, I got more energy for you than I had online.
Shout out to On the Way Up podcast. Says we will meet again. Check out my podcast when time permits. I remember you, fam. Thank you, my friend, for continuing to hold me down. I was up there with my wife, and you showed me some love. And I showed you some love also, and I acknowledge you. So shout out to On the Way Up podcast. Make sure y'all check that out. Real cool dude in person, and met me up at Fifth Tavern up here on Telegraph Road up here in Metro Detroit. Sam B is in the building. Says, preach, I needed that. Thank you for helping me to see the light. Thank you, Sam, and thank you for the 20 ball. Thank you to everybody that's contributing to the platform. Y'all are absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Shout out to all of my birthday people. Self-Made Forever with the 10 ball says, worked at McDonald's for 5 years, got my CDL class at 21. After Job Corps, did my time over the road. Now I'm home every day, 100K a year at 29. Thought I was behind in time, but actually I'm on time, kinda. Now you ahead of time. You ahead of time, big dog. Don't let nobody slow down your progress, and you keep on doing exactly what you're doing. Drew in the building says people have become so entitled. Nobody owes you anything in life. It's your job to invest in yourself and make your life better. Keep speaking the truth. Shout out to Drew. I appreciate you, big dog. J-Mo is in the building. J-Mo says, cheers and great content. Thank you for the 10 ball, J-Mo. I appreciate you. Also, Lamar Black Attack is back. Says McDonald's and Japan locations are always at prime real estate. I'm going to be in Japan. I'm going to be in Japan in a little bit, in a couple months. I'm also supposed to go Friday to go and order my new Lambo. The Revelte. The Revelte. I don't even know how to pronounce the name. I did talk to my people. I forgot what was the deposit that I was supposed to put down. Hold on. Let me find out. Give me a second. You know I like to stunt on them just to make them feel a certain type of way. Hey, you busy?
Get my hair done.
Look at you, always getting pretty and dialed up for your daddy. Getting pretty and dialed up for daddy. Jasmine there?
Yep, she right here.
Tell Jasmine Big Hair I said, what up, though?
What up, baby?
Chilling. Hey, Rita, I am live. What was the deposit that I got to go and put down on Friday for the new Lambo that I'm ordering?
$30,000.
Oh, okay. And then what happens after that? I got to put down when I go and spec it out. How much I got to put down?
Like 10% of the total cost, I believe.
Was it 10 or 20?
I think he said 10. I don't remember, to be honest.
All right. Okay. And it's Friday, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, babe. They're not gonna like it when I pull up in the Lambo and a new joint that can't nobody even get it. They not gonna like it when I pull up in the new Lambo. Oh, and by the way, we put cash. So you put 30 down for the deposit in order to go and spec it out. Once your car starts being built, then you got to put down another 10 to 20%. I don't know if it's 10 or 20%. 10 to 20%, let's just say that. And then they say he told me that the car was gonna cost like $600,000. $600,000. So we're gonna go ahead and rock out with that new Lambo. I think it's beautiful. It's a hybrid. So we're gonna do that. But in the meantime, we got to get back to Dr. Umar Johnson. All right, Dr. Umar Johnson. Shout out to y'all. I'm gonna be reading super chats throughout the show. Let me get a couple more in here before we get it popping. Ron Unruly says, "What up, though? You must be from Detroit." I know my Detroit people when I see them. Says, do you think Google career certificates are a good intro in the tech industry? I do, but I don't think that you should stop there. I think that you should still get a degree in software engineering if you want to go into the tech field, or you should really lean into cybersecurity. A lot of people walk away from cybersecurity. They're not really embracing cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is an incredible field that you should always take care of and possibly look into. So evaluate that also. I don't think that Google certificates alone should be your pathway. Also, shout out to the Average Joe Investor Show in the building with the 10 ball. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, it's costing 600 bands. 600 bands. And when you see it, know that I don't have no car payments. I don't believe in debt. All right? I know y'all like using other people's money in order to get to that bag, but it's a little bit different for me. All right, so my favorite Hey, y'all called that number? Shout out to y'all. Of course they use a Google number. My favorite, Dr. Umar Johnson. I think that he could quite possibly be one of my favorite people to react to specifically. But Dr. Umar Johnson called out Kamala Harris. Now, for the sake of this conversation, I will say that I am not familiar with why Kamala Harris was overseas. However, I'm going to take Dr. Umar Johnson's word for it so that we can have this conversation, okay? I'm taking Dr. Umar Johnson's word for it. Word for it, all right? Somebody says $600,000 for a vehicle. I don't think I would pay that much for a vehicle. Well, when you got it, you do what you want with it. You know what I'm saying? So my dream growing up, when I grew up, I had a Lamborghini Countach poster on my wall. I always wanted a Lamborghini Diablo and I wanted a Lamborghini Countach. When I seen this new one come out, I said, "Oh, I gotta have it. It looks incredible. It's replacing the Aventador." I actually was about to go and order the Huracan, and then the guy said Anton, but I don't think that when you order it, by the time they make it, they may be replacing it. And I said, "Well, actually, that I really wanted that other one, so you just gave me the reason to go and get that other one." I said, "What is it gonna cost?" He said, "Probably between $500,000 and $600,000, depending on how you spec it out." I said, "Yeah, put me on the list. I'll be there Friday. I'm gonna have a bag for you." I started to go yesterday, but I got my dog Charleston here and all of that other type of stuff. So shout out to Charleston and my dog Dewberry. We got some work to put in. We putting the work in, so I'm definitely gonna be going ahead and get that Lambo, and we're gonna get it popping. But Dr. Umar Johnson, let's get it back to Dr. Umar Johnson, all right? Joshua, what you talking about? You can't sell me no Lambo at a discount. Joshua, email me. Email me, Joshua. Joshua, if you can get me ahead on the list, I'll throw you an extra few bands. Bands that make them dance. Anyway, so he's saying that Kamala Harris was traveling overseas for something and he's mad about it. All right. So I'm going to continue to read super chats throughout the show. Thank you to everybody that continues to hold me down. Let's get into what Dr. Umar Johnson got to say, because I think that this guy is the best person to do content on.
I got a question for the Vice President of the United States, Sister Kamala Harris. You were in Ghana a few days ago. Sister Kamala Harris, you were in Ghana a few days ago.
Is that incense that's burning? Is that smoke, or is that dust that he's slapping up? Before we get started, I'm very, very surprised that Dr. Umar Johnson actually even holding a woman accountable. Usually, Dr. Umar Johnson only has things to say to men. He never holds women accountable. And somebody educate me on this, because he's saying Sister Kamala Harris. So a lot of people keep telling me, or in the past they've told me, they said that Kamala Harris ain't black. She Indian. She Asian. She got Indian in her family. Like a lot of y'all, y'all remember when we was coming up when she said, "Oh, she got Indian in her family." That's what they used to say here in Detroit. Is Kamala Harris black or no? She look black. Somebody told me this weekend that the only thing that matters is whether or not you look black. But he's calling her Sister Kamala Harris and he's holding her accountable. So let's get into it.
Sister Kamala Harris, you was in my motherland a few days ago. You didn't go to Africa to cancel the debt that they shouldn't even owe to the World Bank and International Monetary Fund of the United States government. You didn't go to Ghana to cancel the debt that African nations owe to the World Bank and International Monetary Fund of Washington, D.C. You didn't go to Ghana to build no institutions for African people. You didn't go to Ghana to pay no reparations for African slavery. You didn't go to Ghana to do anything progressive for African people. And for all the problems we have in the African diaspora, we got wars going on in Africa. We got gang banging going on in Africa. We got genocide going on in Africa. We got hunger going on in Africa. Not that all of Africa is struggling with those things, because Africa is a modern paradise. But my point is, there are issues in Africa. We got coups.
I noticed that Dr. Umar Johnson got the exact same chain on that Sarah Garvey had on the other day when I was interviewing him on Friday. Dr. Umar Johnson, because I'm going to play a little bit more because I need to understand exactly what it is that he's talking about because I'm not familiar with the traveling woes of Kamala Harris. He has on the exact same chain, the Africa chain, that Sarah Garvey had on the other day. Real talk.
That were financed by the U.S. government in Africa. We have coups, overthrow of democratically elected governments on African soil financed by American CIA. But you didn't go to Africa to deal with them coups. You didn't go to Africa to deal with all the diseases y'all be dropping off. You didn't go to Africa to deal with all the mineral exploitation by the global white power structure, but you went to Africa to make Africa safe for the Rainbow Mafia.
Now, listen, it's a lot of things that I could sit here and criticize Umar Johnson for. One thing that we certainly agree on a regular basis, and this was one of the reasons why Dr. Umar Johnson had came onto my radar a long time ago in the first place. I'm reading super chats throughout the show. Thank y'all for continuing to hold me down. One thing, regardless of whether or not we agree on the school, whether or not we agree on what it is that the path that he's on as far as what he's trying to tell black people that they should and shouldn't do is, the one thing that we agree on unequivocally, expeditiously, is that I do not agree, if this is true, with the idea that America, let alone Kamala Harris as a representative on the behalf of America, is sending a person over there to advocate for and champion something that they are vehemently against over in that other country. As a matter of fact, from what I'm being told, they're against it so much that they've recently written legislation and laws that says that you cannot openly participate in the alphabet community things. Now, similar to what it is that we've seen happen with Brittany Griner over in Russia, you can't sit here and have standards for somewhere else and say what they should and shouldn't do based off of what it is that you see happening here in America. And that's what I have a problem with. Brittany Griner, we held her feet to the fire and we said, listen, we don't think that you should get the sentence that you got. However, when in Rome and you can't go over there and doing what the fuck you want to do, if that's what they say is happening over there and they have a war with Ukraine and you want to go over there and do what you want to do, then you're going to have to suffer the consequences that go along with it. And it's similar to what's going on in Africa. You can't sit here and say that they should be doing something different based off of what it is that they feel is best for their country. If this is the standard and they want to set that precedent, which I largely agree with them on, then why are you over there doing the same thing that Obama did here in the United States of America when he became president? Why are you over there advocating for Western philosophies and ideologies to take place in a country that clearly says we don't want that bullshit? And Dr. Umar Johnson is 120% right about what he's saying, if this is true. Let's continue.
Went to Africa not to help a child, not to help a family, not to cancel no debt, not to build no institutions, not to address these coups that the CIA financed. You didn't go to Africa, Kamala Harris, to do anything progressive. You went to Africa to make Ghana safe for the Rainbow Mafia.
And that's not right. It's not right. We should not be pushing our Western ideologies on other countries. Unfortunately, the other side of the conversation is I believe that Kamala Harris is nothing but a tool. I think that she's largely incompetent. I think that she continues to capitalize and use her black card when it's necessary, even though she, according to y'all, doesn't even identify as black. Thank you, Jay. I'm definitely reading super chats throughout the show. And also on top of that, I think that people that are in power do what they want to do when they want to do it. And so as long as we can do what we want to do because we are a superpower, especially based off of the power of our military, which is one of the reasons why we have a huge military budget, because it's not just to keep America safe, but it's to exercise what we want to happen across the world. When you see something like this happens, I think that she is just being a tool. Not that she don't agree with it also, but she's being a tool for continuing to push Western philosophies and ideologies in places where they don't even want them. I think that Dr. Umar Johnson is 100% right on this.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
Agreed.
Lord, of all the problems you could have dealt with in Africa, like reparations for American theft of African bodies for 400 years, like reparations for American theft of African bodies.
Just when I thought that me and Umar Johnson was going the same page, he starts talking about reparations. I plan on dealing with this reparations conversation after Umar Johnson, but wait on it, because there's legislation over in San Francisco allegedly in which they're having conversations talking about a potential $5 million per black person. But we'll get to that shortly after Dr. Umar Johnson. I don't understand why people want reparations, but we'll get to that part.
For 400 years, like reparations for American theft of African bodies. You didn't deal with that. No. You went to Ghana to make it safe for the Rainbow Mafia.
Facts.
You flew how many thousand miles?
Regardless of whether or not we agree or disagree, for her to be over there, sitting there pushing the alphabet community onto other countries who clearly don't even want it is egregious.
You flew how many thousand miles to do what? Have a conversation with the president to make sure Ghana is safe for the Rainbow Mafia. No disrespect to my African rainbow gangers. No disrespect to my African rainbow gangers.
See, and this is one of the reasons why, honestly, it's very hard for me to ever really get on the Umar Johnson train. I see you, Joshua. I'm going to check that email. It's very difficult for me to get on any pages that Umar Johnson says, because he wavers depending on what it is that he's talking about at the time. So, for example, you can't sit here. His words start to have less of an impact because he's not standing on a square. And it's similar to what it is that he does with women, right? He'll sit here and say there's an attack on male masculinity, but then he'll backtrack and he'll say, but no disrespect to my women. What do you mean, no disrespect? No, I'm very disrespectful at the fact that you're doing something that I completely disagree with. If you don't agree with it, then stand on what it is that you stand on. Don't sit here and be an apologist at the same time that you hold somebody accountable. Don't sit here and be an apologist at the same time that you're supposedly holding something accountable. Then it starts to have less of an impact on what it is that you're saying. And I think that people would have more respect for Dr. Umar Johnson if he had a level of consistency. You can't say Sister Kamala Harris and then go off on her when she's literally pushing agenda on an entire country. That's not your sister. That's your enemy. That's your enemy. You can't say no disrespect to these people, but then say, but it's disrespectful for you to do this. You got to keep it the same way across the board. You can't, but then he'll say LeBron James deserved 500 lashes. And I'm holding LeBron James for letting his son be accountable for going to prom with a white girl. But no disrespect to my brothers. Come on, man.
No disrespect to my African rainbow gangers, but if you can't see the agenda, if you still can't see the agenda by now, if there is any question left in your mind that the whole purpose of the Zaya Wade phenomenon, the whole purpose of the Rainbow Gang Mafia, the whole purpose of this agenda in Africa is the extermination of black life.
So the whole purpose of it is to uproot your family, continue to destroy everything in the extermination of black life. But no disrespect to my rainbow gangers. Make it make sense for me. Honestly, and maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm off. But no disrespect is for the extermination for the thing that he advocate the most. But then at the same time, he supported by not supporting what's supported for what he trying to do. I don't get it. Honestly, I'm confused.
It is the repudiation of the black family. It is about the genocide of God's original people. Why does America care? How Africa chooses to regulate familyhood. What does America care? For how Africa chooses to run their culture. What does America care? For how Africa decides to define family. Since when did America care about black families? Since when did America care about black families? I mean, you sold us away from our mothers. You raped our mothers in front of our face and sold us away.
So who sold y'all away? You see, this is where we start to get into the weeds. Because the people that participated in the slave trade, as far as the inception of it, especially when it came to capturing the slaves and then selling them over into the people that then allegedly colonized you and used you for slave labor over here in the United States of America, look just like you, Dr. Umar Johnson. They probably had the same haircut and everything. I wonder why we don't hold other black people accountable that participated in this. The different tribes that warred with each other, and then in order to ensure that they didn't fight another tribe again, they made sure that they went ahead and captured other people that looked like them and sold them over to have them on slave ships and shipped over into America to ensure that they got the bad end of the stick. Just curious. Just curious. I wonder why nobody ever talks about how black people had slaves over here in America. Anton, do you think it was done willingly? Yes, I think that it was done willingly. They literally were over capturing each other in order to sell them over and participating in a slave trade. Yes, I do think that they were doing it willingly. I do think that it was done willingly. Listen. Think about it like this. And maybe I'm just so simple as a C student that I just don't get it, right? And I'm open to the possibility that I'm wrong on this, right? Let's say, for example, that you got an enemy or there's somebody outside of your household, right? And they looking to get you or they're looking to compete against you. And whatever it is, let's say that it's in a drug game. I know that y'all like to talk about BMF and y'all like that whole thing. But let's just say it's the drug game, right? And your cousin that you grew up with, or your cousin that you're familiar with, or your cousin that got the same bloodline as you, is the one that then set you up, and they say, yo, meet me over here, and then you get there, and then the enemy and the ops is the one that come and kill you. And then your cousin go and take payment so that your ops can continue to run up the numbers, and they can take over all of the corners in the drug game. Now, the question is, because your ops was always your ops, right? But are you more disappointed in the ops for doing what the ops do? Or are you more disappointed in the person that sold you off or sold you out, which was the person that you trusted the most, which was your cousin? If a dude go and sleep with your chick, do you get mad at the dude that slept with your chick, or do you get mad at your chick for sleeping with the dude? I'm curious, honestly. Do you get mad at the dude? I'm reading Super Chat shortly. I see you. Do you get mad at the dude that slept with your chick, or do you get mad and hold your chick accountable for sleeping with the dude? Do you get mad at the game, or do you get mad at the player? Do you hold accountable the person that did you dirty, or do you hold accountable the ops who you already thought was the ops in the first place because y'all was at war trying to make sure that y'all take over each other's corners?
And that's what I'm trying to understand with this selective outrage. The biggest way to ensure that the ops don't do what ops do is to make sure that your own camp, your own family, your own infrastructure, your own household is in order, and then to be able to root out any kind of issues that you may have, which is one of the reasons why the fastest way for you to build wealth is to make sure that you have your own family unit together. It's very difficult for you to be able to infiltrate what it is that I have going on because my chick is always going to make sure that she hold me down. And so when I find somebody that is being treasonous, that is next to me, regardless of whether they disagree or agree with me or not, one of the biggest lessons and one of my favorite movies was The Godfather, specifically The Godfather Part 2. And in the Godfather series, he wind up having to execute Frito because he warned him. He said, listen, regardless of whether or not we disagree or we agree, you never, ever, ever trade against me or you don't publicly disrespect me. Right? And so that had nothing to do with race specifically. It had everything to do with what he identified as the people that was closest to him, family. And so when you then hold people accountable, Michael Corleone knew who his enemies was. He knew who he was battling against. But then when the person that told you that they loved you was the one that then handed you over on a silver plate over to the ops, who do you hold accountable? The ops, or do you hold the person that you was laying next to every day? If your chick then sell you out to your ops, who do you hold accountable? Just a question. Because the way that I see things is a very simple way. It's not that complicated for me. Thank y'all for the super chats. I'm definitely going to be reading them out to the show. Let me go ahead and get back into this Umar Johnson conversation.
You beat and castrated our fathers, sold him away. You took the slave children away from the slave mother before the natural bond of affection and affiliation can be born. When you look at the scientific, demonic process of making a slave in America, how can you then conclude 157 years post 13th Amendment that you now care about the black family, but you don't care about the natural black family?
Listen, hey, Ray Midnight, I see you, big dog. Let me tell y'all something. Please stop sitting here and saying I would love to see Anton have a conversation with Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson never goes on anybody else's platform that may even possibly disagree with him, because all I wanted to do was just ask him some questions. I didn't even want to debate him. I just wanted to ask him some questions. I also offered to pay Dr. Umar Johnson more than triple of whatever his fee was, as well as put him up in the best hotels, get him a personal driver, ensure that whoever it is that came with him was well accommodated and they had great flights, put him on a first class flight in the whole 9 yards. And Dr. Umar Johnson himself declined the invitation after first accepting, and then he declined the invitation. So listen, miss me with all of that. Listen, I love to see different people have a conversation. Miss me with it. If you want to have a conversation with him about it and ask him to do it, the invitation never changed. It's still here, okay? I never switched up my invitation. I made the effort. I reached out to his people. He accepted, and then he thought about it, and then he declined, and then he went on a bunch of other stations that didn't ask him the questions that needed to be asked. So listen, please miss me with that whole idea of I would like to see y'all have a conversation or he is ducking Umar Johnson, because that's not what happened. Umar Johnson ducks Anton Daniels, and that's cool. I'm not telling him what he should or shouldn't do. I'm just saying that for context, miss me with that part of the conversation. It's some stuff I agree with Umar Johnson on, and it's some stuff that I disagree with Umar Johnson on. I'm definitely going to keep reacting to Umar Johnson's takes because I think that he has good takes, he has bad takes, and he's more importantly, very, very entertaining. But please, don't ever say that y'all want to see it happen, because I'd already extended the invitation. All right, let's continue.
You don't care about the natural black family. You don't care about the natural black family. I don't hear you pushing man, woman, and child in Africa, Kamala Harris. I don't hear you pushing man, woman, and child in Africa. The reason you're not pushing man, woman, and child because Africa already has man, woman, and child. And Africa had man, woman, and child before Asia had it. Africa had man, woman, and child before Europe had it. Africa had man, woman, and child before Australia had it. Africa had man, woman, and child before North America had it. Africa had man, woman, and child before South America had it. Africa had man, woman, and child before the Caribbean had it. So we don't need you to push a black family agenda. So if you're not pushing.
Let me see something. Nicole says, Anton, what about Tariq? I don't know a lot about Tariq. I know that Six the Goddess, when she was here, because I talked about her, she explained to me what Tariq Nasheed was about and that he was FBA or whatever like that. I wouldn't mind having a conversation with Tariq Nasheed. I have never seen his content extensively to where I would actually react to him. Everything that I've seen Tariq Nasheed talk about was other interviews. But I don't mind having a conversation with Tariq Nasheed. I'll reach out to him. If y'all want me to have a conversation with Tariq Nasheed, throw a 1 in the chat. Throw a 1 in the chat if you want me to reach out to Tariq Nasheed and get him on a platform. I have no problem whatsoever getting Tariq Nasheed on the chat or on here in order to be able to have a conversation with him. So if y'all throw a 1 in the chat and y'all said, Anton, I want to see you cam up and have a conversation with Tariq Nasheed, then let me know. I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's bad, but I'm definitely down to have a conversation and find out what's going on. If y'all want me to reach out to Tariq Nasheed, then let me know. Throw a 1 in the chat if you want me to reach out to Tariq Nasheed and I'll get it popping. See a lot of 1s. I see 2s. Couple 2s. I see a lot of 1s. All right, that's what's up. I'll read. Some people saying pass. More people are saying 1s and 2s. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach out to Tariq Nasheed. I'm gonna see if I can get him on a platform. And I'll keep y'all updated on what's going on from there. Again, I don't know too much about Tariq Nasheed, but I'll definitely reach out to him and see what's popping. They say do your homework first and allow him to do the same about you. We both got YouTube channels. Man, listen, I don't have to do my homework on nobody. I like to go into it based off of what my current understanding is about a person in order to have a conversation with them. I don't need to do homework. I can find out exactly what a person is about throughout the conversation. So y'all can't tell me what to do. You don't tell me how to do this. I do what it is that I want to do. All right, so I'll reach out to him and I'll see what's happening. And we'll get it popping.
A natural family agenda in Africa. What is the nature of your family agenda? I'm going to call it this family agenda. What is the nature of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's this family agenda? You got police killing black people like it's going out of style. You got police killing black people like it's going out of style. You got police in America killing black people like it's going out of style. We had a brother lynched by the police in Memphis. We had another brother beheaded in Mississippi. Emmett Till 2023. Emmett Till 2023. No answers for that. We got a Jackson water crisis. We got a Flint, Michigan water crisis. And instead of taking care of the black people who voted your ass in office, Kamala Harris, instead of taking care of the black people who voted your ass in office, Kamala Harris, instead of taking care of the black people who voted your ass in office, Kamala Harris, you get on the plane.
Let me ask y'all a question. And this is an honest question. Do y'all think that when y'all vote for these people, specifically a lot of these liberals or Republicans, or these conservatives, but when y'all vote for these people like Kamala Harris, do y'all think that they actually there to work on y'all behalf and fix what's going on in your communities? One of the reasons why I tell y'all on a regular basis to stop focusing on what it is that they're doing within these liberal communities and stop voting based off of whether or not black people are black or doing business with people just because they're black or because they present themselves to be black when they're convenient, is because it's more important for you to participate and see what's going on in your communities and your local elections than it is for you to actually participate in an election on a national scale. Now, I do think that you need to be educated and you need to participate in elections that happen on a national scale. But if you want to really change what's going on in your community, specifically how much money is coming out of your paycheck, what's going on with your schools, what's happening with your infrastructure, so on and so forth, you need to better understand the candidates, the city council members, the treasurers, the mayors, the governors, all of that other type of stuff that's happening locally to you. You need to understand who your legislators or your legislators are. You need to understand who your Congress members are. You need to understand who your House of Representatives are. You need to understand who everybody is on the spectrum that then advocates for the monies and where that monies is going to go within your community. It is much more prudent for you to participate in the legislative process, and even to the point to where you come together as a community to then ask for and understand the business side of what's happening within your community, than it is for you to participate on a large scale. Because Kamala Harris is not going to be the one that then figures out how it is that they can solve for what happens over in Jackson, Mississippi, or Flint, Michigan. I'm telling you. Most of the innovation that comes in a city comes from cutting deals with other business entities within that organization. Y'all not hearing me. You need to operate on a local and fix it in your own households, then operate from the local level, and then you start to work your way up to what happens on a national level. You need to understand everything that you're talking about before you go into it. And that's why when I see these dumbass commercials and these videos of saying no voting, no bucking, it's dumb to me. Because it doesn't make sense how y'all start to do things and y'all advocate for things, but then you don't even understand what's going on or who your legislators are within your own community.
You get on the plane and you take your ass several thousand miles to the birth of civilization. You walk into the western shore of the homeland of civilization.
See, like Polo Sports says, the political candidate is already selected prior to everyone voting for them. Voting is a formality. It's not. The political candidate is already groomed for you understanding exactly how you were going to vote before they got there, meaning that you need to participate in what's going on in your schools. Listen, you need to get together in your community and understand where the money is coming from. The police organizations are largely the ones that distribute the funds that go into the community, which is one of the reasons why they had this whole defund the police campaign. Y'all thought that defund the police was just as simple as saying removing the funds that go to the police. I'm telling you that the police and the organizations, which then filter into your churches and all of these other communities, and these community leaders are largely the ones that determine where the funds get allocated within your communities, all right? The reason why certain communities are able to get certain things done and you can't, when you see what happens in Jackson, Mississippi, and you see what happens in Flint, but it doesn't happen in other communities, is because from the very inception of the process, they're grooming the people who they want to participate in their legislative processes, similar to the same way that they groom them within the mob in the movie Departed. Go and watch The Departed with Leonardo DiCaprio and Jack Nicholson. They have already hand-selected as a community, and they're grooming their young people specifically. They say, listen, you're going to be great and you're smart, so we're going to separate you from the rest of the group. And you're going to study, and we're going to stay on top of you. And you cannot do the same things that everybody else do. You can't go to the parties. You can't get yourself caught up in nothing because you have to be without spot, wrinkle, or blemish. So what we're going to do is we're going to put money behind you. We're going to ensure that your mother is taken care of. We're going to ensure that your father got a job. We're going to ensure that you got a college education. We're going to give you all of the game and all of the insight and information on how it is that you can be able to graduate through college without having any student loans, so on and so forth. And we're going to handpick you. Not only that, you're going to have a wife that comes from over here. I'm telling you that this really happens. And they handpick them and they groom them from being children over into being the person that then works on their behalf. And as a matter of fact, they groom more than one person and they play both sides. They don't just say Republican or Democrat. They literally hand groom these kids from birth so that they then determine what it is that you're going to do within your community, and then that's how it is that they get certain things done.
They have what they call a bullpen. If you have not watched my Kwame Kilpatrick interview inside of the Patreon, go and watch it. He talks about it. He said that they had a bullpen of certain people that they were handpicking because they already knew the impact that they had within their community and even able to galvanize the voters or register people to vote within that community. See, they don't give black people anything within y'all community because they already know exactly how you're going to vote. They know that you're going to show up and vote Democrat and it's going to be a blue city regardless of whatever it is that you do. They don't have to give you or offer you anything for your vote. You don't even know who your legislative people are. You're not even going to turn up on your polls. It's going to be less than a 20% voter turnout rate. It's going to be less than a 17% voter turnout rate in most urban communities throughout the United States of America, especially on an off election cycle. So don't sit here and tell me about voting doesn't matter. The entire process matters. It's just that you don't have any kind of clue of how it works. Let me watch a little bit more of this Umar Johnson video and then we're going to move on.
And you manipulate the president of Ghana into modifying his anti-rainbow policies. You manipulate the president of Ghana into modifying his anti-rainbow policies. You have lost your mind. I need the AKAs to speak to this. I love my Alpha Kappa Alphas, but your soror is out of line. I said I love my AKAs. I love the pink and green. Y'all some fine-ass sisters. You understand me? But your soror is out of line. So the question is, when are the lovely ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated going to send a message to the Vice President of the United States? We love you, soror, but you are not taking care of business. What are you doing in Africa pushing rainbow policy when you should be in the United States protecting the Africans who voted you into office? How about some police policy? How about some gentrification policy? How about some miseducation policy? How about some mass incarceration policy? How about some reparations policy? How about some economic policy?
All right. That's enough. This is a waste of time. Kamala Harris does not care about what it is that you think, Dr. Umar Johnson. As a matter of fact, there was a Kamala Harris get together here in Metro Detroit, and it was sponsored by the AKAs, and they supported her regardless of how they voted. So these organizations is just a networking opportunity in order for people to continue to get close to and then level up. Nobody really cares within the black community about what it is that he's saying. And so even if Umar Johnson is correct, or even if Umar Johnson thinks that he's holding her accountable, she's still married to a white man. I thought that Umar Johnson said specifically that you wasn't even a part of what it is that we're building or what he's building or what he identifies as building within the black community if you don't even marry somebody of your same race. Let me look up Kamala Harris's husband. Let me see what he looked like real quick. Give me a second. Douglas Emhoff. That's him. Look how they gaze into each other's eyes. They love each other, Dr. Umar, and you're not going to stop them. They love each other. Look at that. They love each other. You think you're going to stop this? Kamala Harris made the decision a long time ago to focus on how it was that she could be successful within her own little household and what path that she wanted to take to do so. And she handpicked the man that she felt like made the most sense to go along that path. All right? So this is a moot conversation that he's having, that he's yelling at the phone for. She not checking for him. She don't even care about what it is that he's talking about, all right? This is all business for her. It's nothing personal. It's all business. All right, Doc? Okay, Pumpkin? All right. So let's move on.
The final thing that I want to talk about and that I want to share with y'all is something that I've been meaning to talk about for about at least a week now. So this has been on the docket for at least a week, right? So I got a couple of videos that I want to share with you guys. I seen a portion of the second video, but I did not see this video. This video allegedly is the video that then gives you the foundation of what's going on over there in California, San Francisco in particular. And then the next video says exactly what people think about it, specifically the black community over there. And then let's have a conversation about reparations. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Before we get started, let me go ahead and read some of these super chats. Ash is in the building, says, Anton, you getting in that Lambo for real? Yes, I am. I was just checking that car out online. Happy for you. I can't afford it, but glad you can. Awesome. And this is what we do. We love each other regardless of whether or not we there or we not, because I think that Ash is going to get there one day. And if Ash decides that he wanting a Lambo, I'm gonna be just as happy for Ash as Ash is for me, because we love each other. Quincy Cuthbert says, just got my master's in digital forensics. Shout out to Quincy. Y'all give a round of applause for Quincy and all of the bag chasers. Let's doing what they do. Shout out to you and thank you for the 2-ball. Sage is in the building. Sage says, Ron Unruly got me my first job from Arlington. Shout out to Sage and shout out to Ron Unruly is in the building. Matthew Morris says, you one of the realest on here. You handled Pearl's situation masterfully. I'm really looking into getting into this YouTube game, looking for a good mentor. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. The Patreon has a lot of information, and I even show exactly what it is that I do, how I do it. I show my back end. I show exactly what my payments are, what my strategies has been, and how it is that I plan on continuing to push this thing going into the future. So shout out to you for the 20-ball, and shout out to all of my bag chasers. Let me also give a shout out to Levite Apparel. Says President Mother from India, the President Mother from India, her father is Jamaica. So she black then, according to what y'all standards are. Drew with the fat ball says, what's your thought about buying years in a government pension? Buying years in a government pension. You said you worked for a university and took advantage of the benefits offered. My university did not offer a pension. My university that I worked for specifically, which was the University of Michigan, offered a double match within your 401k, which is largely unheard of. A double match in your 401k, and I think that they still do it. So I've never worked for any place that actually offered a pension. I worked for a place that offered a double match in your 401k, and it wasn't even your 401k, it was a 403b. So shout out to you for the question. Jay, the Legend Sports Media is in the building, says, talk your time. I'll send you some merch too. Send me that merch. My address is in the description, y'all. Dalen, my dog, says that was a waste of a trip. Agreed. Kenneth Percival says, thank you, big coach. Needed this. I got y'all back. I got y'all. Salute to y'all. Aaron says, no smoke for Anthony Johnson, the black man who argued for indentured service to become permanent slaves. I'm not even familiar with Anthony Johnson, but you know they ain't gonna have no smoke for nobody. Gideon Truth Chaser Prime with the 2-ball says, tribe versus tribe capturing slaves for resources. That's what they was doing. They was looking at people as resources. Slavery has been around since the beginning of time. Literally since humans were on this earth, there was some form. It's two things that's always been in existence since the beginning of time, right? Slavery and women selling pussy. Slavery and women selling pussy has always been here since the beginning of time. Daryl Nelson says the Africans that sold our ancestors is dead. And the present elite Africans are about doing business, not beefing with African Americans. Only the poor ones like in the hood. Shout out to you. Self-Made Forever says, Anton, did you hear about the young lady who put boyfriend ashes in a sex toy, then used it on OnlyFans to promote her page and lost her position in a law school university? I have not. Make sure y'all send that to me. Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com. Make sure y'all send that story to me. Shout out to y'all. Levi says, salute, sir. No one speaking on the leader in death in any trade or construction field by a factor of 10 times. Check out CNN's Cell Tower Climber on Frontline. We need all communication to survive. You're inspiring. UWSDWF. Shout out to you, and y'all need to send me these articles. AntonDaniels413@gmail.com. Send me this stuff so I can check it out. I love to get the content so that I can be able to cook out here in these streets. I got a few more super chats I want to go through before we get into this reparations conversation. Aaron says, nah, they don't have smoke for that chick or they dude. They bring that dude in and then he sleeps on the couch while the other dude sleeps with his wife. Watch the other sister's husband on video on TLC. Oh, my God. Oh, they asked me to remove a portion of their video yesterday, so I had to chop it out of the live stream yesterday. But Q had a phenomenal show on the Anton Daniels channel yesterday in a panel that spoke about sister husbands yesterday. It's called Seeking Husbands or some crap like that. But shout out to you. Y'all go back and watch that. The Oracle is in the building with the fireball. Says, a great to read is, about reparations is The Debt by Randall Robinson. Debt by Randall Robinson. Thank you, Oracle. I appreciate you. Speeds the Beast says, shout out to you for keeping it real. Most of these pro-blacks never hold other blacks accountable. Their lives are based in excuses. Rock out, big dog. Thank you to Speeds the Beast. I appreciate you. Let me continue. Spiritual Politics says, bag chaser in the building. Shout out to all of my bag chasers. Hit the link in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Says, check your Patreon inbox. Would love for you to produce Spiritual Politics on YouTube. That might be a thing. Shout out to you for the 10 ball. Rita, if you're watching this, make sure that you write that down. We're going to go through all of the messages that we got in Patreon. Joseph Francis with the 20 ball says, just join the Bag Chasers. Respect your advice. Hey, can we get a round of applause for all of the new Bag Chasers and Patreon members? We got more Patreon members today than we've ever had. I told y'all that we're going to be on the road to 10,000 this year. We're going to be on the road to 10,000 this year. Hey, y'all, make sure that y'all don't ban anybody. Do not ban anybody that is in the chat unless they get disrespectful. And y'all know what I mean by saying disrespectful. Says, just join the Bag Chasers. Respect your advice. Shout out to you, big dog. I appreciate you for holding me down. Let me also get David Mosby up in here in the building. Says, with the 10 ball, I'm learning from Patreon. Don't mean to bother you, Anton, but I really need to link up with you. I may leave May 5th to go dark for about 4 months. So please, please, please link up with me before I leave. I think, David, as you sent me an email, I'm going to mark your email as important, or I'm going to have a reader or one of my assistants mark it as important. So I'll be in touch with you. I'm going to reach out to you, big dog. All right, let's get into this reparations conversation. This is allegedly what's happening over in California. California? Yeah, California. All right, let's get into it. Let's rock out, y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. And then in addition to that, make sure that y'all tab into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right.
San Francisco supervisors today heard more than 100 recommendations from a city-appointed reparations committee tasked with figuring out how to atone for centuries of slavery and systemic racism. San Francisco is considering a reparations proposal that includes a $5 million lump sum payment for each eligible black person. San Francisco could become the first major U.S. city to fund reparations as the idea gains traction across the country.
Y'all better go and move to San Francisco. Y'all better go over there with Aaron O. Aaron O. Y'all better go and move to San Francisco and go hang out with Aaron O. if y'all looking for reparations.
Reparations advocates say the harms of slavery have continued since its official end in 1865. But critics say reparations are flawed and
Look at all the black
financially
people out there. Listen, ma'am, respectfully, ma'am. I don't even want to say what I was about to say. I don't even want to say what I'm about to say. I'm so respectful. I'm not even going to say what I would have said last year. I'm not even going to say what I would have said last year. I'm going to just let it be.
Feasible. Before today's meeting, supporters held a rally to talk about why they believe reparations are needed.
We've heard a lot of critics, and even some of you may be questioning why.
Reading super chats throughout the day. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Would we be seeking reparations for black San Franciscans? Many folks often say that California and San Francisco specifically did not enslave black people. And so there's lots of history that obviously needs to be researched, and I'm putting that responsibility on all of you to do that.
Black people make up 6% of San Francisco's population and 38% of its homeless residents. Today, supervisors expressed support for
Whoa, what? I haven't seen this video. I only seen part of the second video. It said that black people make up 6% of San Francisco's population, but 38% of its homeless population? Of the homelessness? That can't be right. Is that right? Hey, somebody check those stats for me. Black people make up 6% of San Francisco's population, but 38% of its homeless population. Wow, that's crazy.
Reparations that were presented to them, but that does not mean that all those recommendations will ultimately be adopted. The board can vote to approve, reject, or change any or all of those recommendations, and a final committee report is due in June.
All right, for more now, we are joined by Eric McDonald, chair of San Francisco's African American Reparations Advisory Committee. Thanks so much for joining us. I'd like to start off with what we're just hearing from the San Francisco NAACP, saying now that they would actually want to reject the reparations one-time payment in favor of investments in key areas of education, economy, housing, healthcare, and the Fillmore Heritage Center in the black community. Can we get your thoughts on this?
How serious do y'all take all of these organizations? NAACP, BET, United Negro, whatever. Honestly, how serious do y'all take these organizations in a general sense? I'm just curious.
New development.
Happy to share my thoughts. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to come spend a few minutes with you all. Coming to that question, I would first say this is an historic day, it's a historic moment where we are having serious, intentional, deliberative conversations about reparations in San Francisco. Short time ago, not thought possible, and yet here we are. And so, as is expected, as the committee has done its hard work, developed this draft plan that we will work to make final in June. There are folks who are bringing all kinds of points of view, right, about it. So we respect that. I'm aware of the NAACP's perspective. Without commenting deeply about it, I would say that represents an or context, and we are offering an and context. So we respect that the NAACP can obviously share its perspective. We as a committee as a whole don't share that perspective.
All right, so let's talk about the notion of these $5 million payments to individuals in San Francisco. You actually say this is a low figure. If you look at the totality of the harm that's been caused by slavery in this country, why do you believe that those cash payments are so crucial?
In answering that question, let me just make clear, there are 111 recommendations in the report. While I'm happy to speak to this one, I want to make it really clear, it is but one of 111, and our intention is to ensure that Black San Franciscans who have experienced significant harm over the history of San Francisco have opportunities in education and in health and in policy and in economic empowerment. And so it seems as if many read the first section of economic empowerment and stopped. There are many. In terms of the $5 million, you cannot put a price on the cost of lives lost, properties lost, stress-induced health crises, the inability to create pathways to economic agency and self-achievement. You cannot put the price tag on that.
All right, so he's saying you can't put a price tag on it, but we're going to slap $5 million, all right? So let's back up for a minute. These are, and this is the video I've seen a little bit of, these are the people speaking specifically to, I guess, their legislative branches on what they think about $5 million in reparations, all right?
Reparations are overdue for all foundational Black Americans.
I'm guessing foundational Black Americans, that's what the FBA abbreviation is. Foundational Black Americans. Now, I'm not sure who qualifies. I'm going to be reading Super Chats throughout the show. Don't worry, I'm marking them all. I'm coming to get all of y'all Super Chats read. I'm not sure who qualifies as a foundational Black American. They certainly saying we leaving out these immigrants and all of this other type of stuff, right?
I know a lot of y'all don't even know who y'all real daddy is, but they saying that if you're a foundational Black American, then you deserve reparations, all right? Now, they're about to speak about this number, this $5 million number, all right?
Black Americans that were killed for nothing, babies taken away from mothers, fathers killed for protecting their families, and families broken up on purpose for a profit. Medical genocide, unjust laws, and just plain out brutality. Foundational Black Americans have helped every culture to get on their feet. Now it is Foundational Black Americans' turn to do the same for ourselves. Not just for my generation, but also for the elders that took the time and did the research and educated us and taught us our true history. Also, for the future generations to come that will lead us into the future with their heads held up high. I believe that $5 million in reparations is too little for the work that Foundational Black Americans have done for this country, and as well.
He said 5 million is too little. 5 million is too little. What do y'all think about that? Because I think that on Friday, barring that there's no other crazy story that comes out, I don't want to discuss this too much, right? Because I think that this is a discussion that I'm going to open up possibly for the panel. Y'all know I like to have people come up and give me their smoke, say whatever it is that they think about me, give their thoughts on different things that I said throughout the week or whatever. I'm thinking I'm going to have a conversation about reparations on Friday. But he said that $5 million per person is too small. Somebody said Anton ain't inviting somebody. Hold on, let me read it. Says somebody ain't inviting Anton to be able to have a conversation. Hold on, let me read it. Anton ain't inviting anyone who will give any political perspective on reparations. He's angry with 6, so I'm not angry with nobody. I have no problem with 6, A. And then B, Captain America, Captain, anybody that want to hit the link is more than welcome to be able to come up and say, as a matter of fact, here, I'll do this. I got a little bit of extra time. Captain America, or whoever it is that is very well educated. Now, don't come up here talking that bullshit. Educate me. I just opened up the link. Now, Captain, you are more than welcome to be able to come up and give me the game, and I'm open to the possibility that I may just be completely off, right? You are more than welcome to be able to come up here and help me to understand why it is that I'm off. I just dropped the link in the chat. Sydney K, if I'm off, then tell me. I just dropped the link. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. Don't worry about it. I don't usually do this on a Tuesday, but I'm feeling a little froggy today. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Make sure y'all got good lighting. Make sure y'all audio is working good. I'm going to leave the link open for at least 5 more minutes for somebody to come. Now, if you agree with me, do not come up here. If you agree with me, do not come up here. If you think that my thinking is off and you want to educate me on how it is that I need to see things differently as far as reparations, because y'all said that, yo, Anton, you ain't going to invite nobody up here that actually got a different perspective that can give you some education on how it is that we need to be running in the Victim Olympics. Okay, well, then if that's the case, I'm right here. I'm right here. I don't see the link popping up. I don't hear no ringing in my ears. I don't see nobody in the back that then can come up here and give me some game and some insight on how it is that I need to be doing things differently. Where are all of these people that can give me some insight and educate me on how it is that I can better understand why foundational Black Americans deserve $5 million or more per person?
Y'all want to watch the video until we get somebody that's going to give me the game? I'll play some more of the video while we wait for y'all. Don't worry about it.
Well, for other countries, I believe that 7.6 million is a number that can be used very wisely in our foundational Black American communities. 40 acres is also still a good idea, and instead of a mule, we would like a tractor. I also believe that we should know the name of all the companies that participated in the slave trade so we, foundational Black Americans, can start up our own companies. We should also be allowed to have a choice to learn our mother language other than Spanish or French in our educational classes.
What's preventing y'all from learning your own languages? I'm going to drop the link in the chat again. Don't worry about it. I just dropped the link in the chat again. What's stopping y'all from going online or going to get you some, literally, you can go on Apple Music if you got Apple or Spotify, and they got literal albums that you can download that will teach you any language that you want. Any language that you want. Yo, I don't see nobody camming up. How come ain't nobody hitting the link? I know that I dropped the proper link. What happened to Captain America? Savior of the nearest universe. Where's all of these people that be typing hard in the chat? Listen. This is what I usually see. I see 1,000 people. What up, C? Sometimes we got to mute the conversation to make sure that we I don't see nobody. Where are all of these people? Where are all of these people? I dropped the link twice. I'll send it one more time. I see all of these people on a regular basis. They be typing hard in the comments. They be giving all kind of Anton, you whatever. You want to send me text messages at 1 o'clock in the morning. I see 22 dislikes. Get the dislikes and the likes up. Where are all of these people that's actually going to give me this game? All right, here we go. Hold on. I got somebody for y'all. Hold on. Give me a second. I knew that we was going to get somebody that was going to hold me down and give me the game on how it is that I need to look at things differently. Arthur, wasn't you on here the other day? Arthur. Can you hear me? Arthur. I can't hear you, Arthur. Arthur, you got to unmute yourself.
I just did.
Okay. Wasn't you on here the other day? Wasn't you on here last Friday?
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Arthur, you was on here last Friday?
You think I'm a Hebrew Israelite? That's fine.
So you was on here last Friday?
Huh?
Are you Captain America?
Yeah.
You're Captain America?
No. I don't comment in chats.
Okay, hold on, Arthur, because you was on here the other day. Give me 1 second. I got somebody else. Let me drop you down for 1 second, okay? Let me see if I can get somebody else, because I already know where you stand on this. Like, what's going on, big dog?
What's going on with you, Anton? How are you, man?
Is it T. Royce or is it Choice? Or Troyce?
It's Troy.
Troy?
Mm-hmm.
Where you from, Troy?
Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, what up, though? What's happening? What's the word?
What up, though, my baby? You all right?
Chilling, big dog.
I've been shooting. I wrote in the super chat. I'm the little pimp icon, the Willie Dynamite icon, and I've done a lot of shouting from the super chat, and have tried to show a lot of love. I'm sure you've noticed, and like you said, you keep a record of everybody that be active.
Yep.
And I'm from the hometown, And I also wrote in the super chat, when you get a chance, check the IG. I left you a couple of messages. Pardon me for it being long. I'm a little windy when I talk.
Take your time,
But
big dog.
to get straight to the point about reparations, little name dropping, a lot of us take it passionately to the heart with the ideology that we have laid down about our survival not being up for discussion. Shout outs to Jason Black, shout outs to Tariq Nasheed, shout outs to Yarima Karama for the work that they have put down. Shout outs to Professor Black Truth for the work that he has put down. Shout outs to the Nation of Islam and the pupils who have followed the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and everyone who has been active and given an intellectual stance on reparations. Here's my thing and what I got to say about it. Just thinking from an intellectual perspective of it, throwing numbers out there and how history has gone the past 200, 300, 400 years. There's this number I always throw out there about how it is imaginatively. The people who run the world have about $600 trillion, right? So you take that, chop off 200 trillion. There's been numbers thrown around about 50 trillion being a down payment collectively for FBA.
Okay, hold on one
Go
second.
ahead.
Because I'm asking for context. All right.
Come on.
When you say the people that run the world, who is this that you speaking about specifically that run the world?
The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the people. When you follow the money, it is clear indication who played a part in the oppression of Black people globally.
So you saying that there are specific families that have $600 trillion, and we're to chop off 200 trillion of their money?
Yeah, that plus the ideas that were wrote up in reparations conversations among intellectuals for Black folk that, just speaking abroad, a redo, kind of like what the Jews had during the Holocaust. We want full clean slate. There's enough intellectual Black people around where we could collectively build our own. We want reparations from the fact and the point and the aspect of everybody else has been able to get money. When they saying we don't got it, people keep talking about trillions of dollars worth of debt, but there's a list of reparations that's always given out yearly to certain countries, and then there's randomly reparations where people are getting paid millions of dollars from subgroups, LGBT, Ukraine, you name it. Whenever there's been a situation going on in tragedy, the government from America has picked and choose who they wanted to give the money out to. But the thing that seems to never get out there
so
is
the
people
LGBTQ, whatever, the alphabet community, they get reparations?
They got $75 million, and I quote from what I read, they got $75 million for reparations as far as what they had to go through as far as proving certain documentation about how they had to pay lawyer fees to get, the benefits from their loved ones or the significant others, how they contributed to the government, how they contributed to other people, subgroups, as far as, the plight of African Americans, taking the ideas from foundational Black Americans.
No, listen. So, I'm not familiar with it, so I'm gonna just take your word for it. So when I ask a question, I'm just asking for additional context. But go ahead. Like I'm just gonna take your word for it. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Well, that's the basis of it. People are the big thing is the big stink about the whole reparations thing is we always got money for everybody else, but it ain't never no money for the people that built this country. When you get to the root and the keys of the people that built this country, they have already done the research. When you follow the money, you can see where everyone is. The government, the people that owned the slaves, there was insurance policies on these people. Follow the money. You keep looking at, when you look into it from an intellectual perspective, follow the money. You can see where everybody is. My grandmother, she grew up across the street from Nancy Rockefeller. Abraham Lincoln is on my bloodline. I'm not proud about that because he was compromised. You see what I'm saying? But the point is this. I was able to find out where I came from. One of my grandmothers is 80 years old. She told me stories about living on the chicken farms down there in Memphis, Tennessee. I found out the stories of my great grandmother who just died a couple of years back. what she's seeing going on. And I even got names wrote down in voice recordings, because my grandma, I'd just go home and pick her brain about certain families who were rich and over Memphis and in the vicinity of those cities back in the day, man. And it's not hard to figure out when it's people that are still living who was 10 years old when the cotton gin came out, and they had to transition from picking cotton, which sharecropping was a form of slavery, and then to say that these people didn't have that. And then you look at the other, let's just say, plights that people have a hard time understanding. When rich people who believe in nation building take the aspect of hiring a room full of geniuses, tossing them all some money and saying, okay, here, go fuck the world up, pardon my language. You get 30 geniuses in the room who understand nation building and the concepts of the world, and then their job is to fuck the world up. They know what they're doing. It was the same thing like when
let me ask you a
Einstein.
question. Let me ask you a
Go
question.
ahead.
Do you
Go ahead.
think
My
that
bad for
there's
being long-winded, brother.
No, you're fine. We just kicking it. We just having a conversation. Do you think that there's a benefit as far as from an agenda perspective for the United States to benefit off of the alphabet community based off of what it is that they're trying to do within our society today?
Yes, that's a loaded question. And the reason why I
It's
say
just
it's
a general question. You don't have to substantiate it. Just a general question, right? So if that be the case, to throw them $75 million to do that, right? What benefit comes along with, right? What benefit comes along with giving black people $200 trillion from the United States perspective?
It has been said by intellectuals, Dr. John Henry Clark, and others like him, the immortal elder, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, or any other intellectual that have come, Dr. Martin Luther King, and his true stance of economic justice. Like I said, the philosophies that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had put forward, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in short, if you give black people like me, you can't give me $100,000 cash. I'll get rich. If you give smart,
No. You
intelligent black people,
you missing my question. What
okay,
benefit?
I'm sorry.
What benefit does the institution of America? What do they get out of giving you $200 million?
Our economy will boom.
By giving y'all, wait. So you telling me by giving black people $200 million, our economy would boom?
Our economy would boom. From my perspective and what I have seen, let me clarify my perspective and what I've been looking at. There have been tons of economists from the various communities who have uber wealth, even the Kevin O'Leary's. I've even heard him say it from Shark Tank. If you give black people this money, the intellectual class of black people that know what they're doing, we gonna turn that money.
No. That's not what it said. It said to give it to all black people.
No, not all black people. Foundational black Americans. If you give it to
foundational black Americans are only they're the only intellectual black people?
No, we aren't. I mean, no, they aren't. There's other intellectual black people, but that's a specific group.
What I'm saying is, are you saying that all foundational black Americans? All right, so let me do it like this. You saying if somebody gave you $100,000, you can get rich?
Yes.
How do you figure that?
Because of my plans that I got wrote out that make sense. That if when you look at how wealth is built, and you look at how family is supposed to be rooted in it, and you look at the crosshairs argument of the 30 geniuses in the room and the plight of 300 years ago when that check was wrote to fuck the country up and the world up by white supremacy, it's a crosshairs argument. It's so many different points and variables. We couldn't get through it in this point, and that's what everybody is frustrated about.
I think you could come up with 100,000 over a period.
I might.
I know
being
you
honest,
can.
Being honest, I can't. I done messed up 100,000
Okay,
twin.
so now, all right,
I
so
done
now
messed
we
up
gonna get to
100,000.
now we gonna get real. Cause listen, one thing about us Detroit dudes is that we get down to the nitty gritty. Listen, I understand that you're a very educated brother. You're able to articulate yourself well. You
I
seem
try
well.
to.
You seem well studied, right?
I
But
try
when we
to.
get down to the brass tacks of things, right?
Right.
You done already touched over 100.
Right.
What happened?
I didn't have the same type of freedom that my white friends have who are worth
Oh,
3 and 4 million
come on,
dollars.
big dog.
I'm just being honest.
What
What
do you
family
mean you
member
ain't
do
had
I
the same type of freedom?
my friends that are my age, I'm 36, Anton,
Hmm?
who I've drawn to me being the man that I am in
Hmm?
business and the things I got going on. My friends that are 30, my white friends that are 36,
Hmm?
they had $1 million homes gifted to them. They had rare vehicles gifted to them. They had property. They had money. 2, 3, 4, 500,000 uncles, not even their straight descendant parents. They had relatives gifting them money. One of my buddies that I'm tight with right now that's worth $40 million, white dude who took to me, right?
Hmm?
His dad was like, no, you gonna do this, 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 and this. Come from overseas, Bosnian, German, right?
Hmm? Hmm?
This is what you gonna do. And I'm gonna make sure I push everything into you. We got the hookup when we came over here. All I had to do was work, put the knowledge down, put your ass through school. You went to school while helping me build this trucking company. And now roughly they're about worth about 30, 40 million.
Hmm?
And he got to work alongside of his father and build. I didn't get that opportunity. What I got in the streets, and I'm just gonna be straight with you.
I feel you.
My dad may have made millions back in the 80s and the 90s, but he
Mm.
had dealing habit. He squandered the wealth. Now I'm sitting here with no handoff, but I got all of his intelligence, all
Hmm?
of his gifts, and I'm doing what I can. But like I said, it's a
And
hard
respect to
case.
that. Respect to you. Respect to you.
It's a case to make that because I had to get over self-gratification issues. You know where we from. Cartier glasses, $200 shades, and dumb shit. I had to learn that. I had to deal with leaving the street life and selling drugs and transitioning into truck driving and real estate.
But
And
you still got them on though.
these little Ray-Bans, the Yanks in here with me. The Yank, look, the bullshit, the shit that been holding me back. See, I'm 100. The shit that be holding me back, I got it, but I had to get over that shit. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying?
Uh-huh.
Mentally, as smart as I appear to be,
You
psychologically,
smart. No, you a smart dude.
but psychologically, I had to take self accountability for, like I said, fucking 100,000 up. And some of my mentors and teachers that's waiting on me to get to that level, they told me, you gonna get there, but you gonna fuck up a few times. And I fucked up a few times, and now I'm trying to get to that point of thriving, as I've heard you talk about.
Yeah.
But black people, we gotta do a deep conditioning. All of the things that I'm making it a point is in the true stack of paperwork that the intellectuals have all verified as far as common ideology for reparations.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get this thing cleaned all the way from the top to the bottom, mentally, spiritually, and physically. Go. What you got to say?
You know you can touch 100,000.
And I'm doing it. And it listen to the messages in your inbox, man. Like I said, we gonna talk when I get home. You can check me out, man, and verify I ain't on
I
no
got you.
bullshit and nothing like that.
No.
And
I think that no. Listen. I love the conversation. I think you dope. I just think you discounting yourself.
Tell me how.
I think that you discount yourself because you putting too much energy into even in the forget the reparation shit, right? 80% of millionaires in this country are foreign and new millionaires from people that come from nothing. Which means that the overwhelming majority of the wealth that is generated is not coming from people that handed it off. It's coming from people that's building it from scratch. And more often than not, people that got a handout are the ones that squander it. Now, there are a few families over here. There's a percentage of people that's able to actually sustain and build, right? However, most people that get it handed off to them don't understand what it took to get there, and then they wind up fucking it up, right? But my point is that you spending time and saying, well, listen, my dad had this, but he fucked it up, and his dad had this, and he held him down, or whatever, so on and so forth. I think that you should better use that energy into executing your plan, because you already know how easy it is. If you're 36 years old and you done already touched the type of money in which I think you touched, then I don't think that it's hard for you to actually be able to duplicate the process without any of the mistakes that came along with what you fucking it up the first time. And so if your execution and your plan is solid, I don't see why you spending any energy towards asking somebody for anything when you can. Listen, $5 million for me would do nothing for me. It wouldn't do shit for me. It wouldn't mean it. It wouldn't change my life. Is it a lot of money? Absolutely. It's absolutely a lot of money. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna touch $5 million a year. A year. And ain't nobody gave me shit. And what I found is that when you actually put money, and now this ain't got nothing to do with the reparations argument, but this is just me and you kicking it. When you actually put money in the hands of people that's not ready for it, it doesn't necessarily make them good at what it is that they do. It just shows the flaws that they really have, because money just accentuates who you already are. It doesn't necessarily make you a better person. And so for me, I think that you should put more energy into the hustle and grind and executing your plan than you are listening to a bunch of other people talking about why it is that we deserve reparations. I think that the community could be much better served with the knowledge that you have, which is way more valuable than any amount of money that you can give somebody. The knowledge that you have and life experiences that you can execute and then show people the way in which they can build wealth instead of it being handed down to you would be a lot more fruitful for the people that you can then help in the long run. I don't need no handouts. I don't need nobody. I don't even want nothing. I ain't want no fucking stimulus check. I ain't want nothing from nobody. I'm going to get it the same way that I came in it, out of the mud. And so listen, I understand your argument with regard to reparations. And I think that it could be a much deeper argument that I plan on doing a show on Friday. But just on a person-to-person level, Detroit person level, I think that you already got it, bro. And I don't think that you need anybody in order to be successful.
What I will say is, I agree, Anton, but like they say, it's a big, like I kept saying, it's a crosshairs argument. And what I mean by that is this. I'm not worried about me. You know what I'm saying? The cousins I done had to look out who in jail for protecting themselves, having a gun on them, even though they didn't have legal. Or family members that got locked up, being at the wrong place at the wrong time because they were hurt by racism. Family members who, really needed it at the moment, that had to call me for financial help. If I'm so busy, because the way I've always ran myself is, if as long as all my shit is together and it's straight, I'll give. So what happens if you give somebody like me a check like that and I'm able to get past a certain threshold financially? Then I can prosper and I can bring everybody that's supposed to be on my level. Because the thing is this, Anton, everybody ain't like you.
That's how I know
Everybody ain't like you. How am I gonna fuck it up if I'm gonna make sure I'm straight first and put all the money in what I need to put it into first to get where I need to be? Because it take money to make money.
That's the same philosophy that all of these basketball players and athletes have.
But here's the thing. Here's what's the difference maker
you're gonna fuck it up. You're gonna fumble.
But here's why I believe you wouldn't. Why I wouldn't fumble, because if you take that,
okay.
Can I be wrong? Can I be wrong for a minute?
Let's say you get 5 M's. What you gonna do with it?
Go ahead. What am I gonna do with it?
Yeah,
come meet up with people. Come meet up with motherfuckers like you.
No.
No disrespect.
You got the plan. You gonna execute on it. Share with me the plan. What you gonna do?
Real quick, real estate, crypto, trucking. Period.
You're gonna fuck up the bag.
Period.
Bro. You're gonna fuck up the bag all day long. All day long, you're gonna fuck up the bag.
With real estate and trucking, I'm gonna fuck the bag up.
Wait a minute, why you leave out crypto?
I didn't. the reason why I left out crypto is because I know that from my teachings, real estate make you recession proof, and it's
Well,
a good
okay,
place to
explain it
sit
to
your
me.
money if you got. Go ahead.
Explain it to me how real estate make you recession proof.
I watched my mentor who got 40 houses be straight.
I got 17 and I got 4 more properties that I'm building right now.
Right. And from what I know, the only
Does
hardship
he
you
own them
had, you might
outright?
get.
Does he own them outright? No
Yeah, he
mortgage?
owned them outright.
No
No
mortgage,
mortgage.
40 properties, no mortgage.
No mortgage.
Where
Own
they
them
at?
outright. And he done had them over 15 years.
Okay, cool. So explain to me how real estate make you recession proof. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I want to know exactly what you think.
When you have that amount of entities and you want to do anything, you could go to any bank and leverage those properties to get whatever you need because they making money and they're actually an asset that brings in money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can do that, you straight. Even during the
Okay, so why would
pandemic,
you?
right?
No. If you got 40 properties and they're 100% cash flow, and
Right.
and you have no debt, why would you then leverage that in order to get more debt? What do you need to invest in and buy in which you have to go to a bank and get debt?
Anything that is appreciating debt is good debt and bad debt.
Like what?
Let's say he wanted to give me $100,000 to go get 2 trucks.
Why would you need $100,000 to go get 2 trucks if you already cash flowing on 40 properties? If you cash flowing, I cash flow the equivalent of $39,100 every single month on 17 properties.
Right.
Literally $39,100 every single month I make on 17 properties, and that doesn't have anything to do with any other thing that I got going on. That's just real estate alone. Now, why would I have to go to the bank in order to borrow $100,000?
To get more properties lucratively?
No. You said that you was gonna go to the bank, get $100,000 in order to get some trucks.
It's the same thing.
It's not.
It's the same. You're gonna make the same. The bottom line figure may be smaller, but trucking is very lucrative business.
So let me give you the
whole country. The whole country
I'm
run
gonna
off
give you the
truck.
sauce. I'm gonna give you the sauce. You ready?
Come on, give me some sauce. Give me some sauce. Sauce me out.
This is the sauce. The difference between good debt and bad debt is this. The only time rich people use debt is 2 scenarios in most cases. Of course, there are some anomalies, but in most cases, it's 2 scenarios, right? The first scenario is that they use debt in order to prevent themselves from having to pay taxes, right? So I'll give you an example. Let's say Mark Zuckerberg actually had mortgages on his houses, right? But the reason that he used debt in order to buy the houses wasn't that he didn't have the cash or he couldn't come up with the cash. It was because all of his money is based off of his compensation, and his compensation is based off of his equity that he has in Facebook, right? So in order for him to pull money out of Facebook for him to buy this $50 million property, he would have to pay $50 million in taxes. So he'd have to pull $100 million out and get taxed at the highest rate in order to come up with $50 million to buy a $50 million house. Instead, he continues to leave his money inside of Facebook, which continues to grow. And then he takes out a mortgage against what his equity is in the company at an extremely low rate. So it costs him less to mortgage it because he can actually make sure that he guarantees it against his equity in the company instead of taking $100 million out in order to pay $50 million in taxes to buy a $50 million property. That's why they then mortgage the property. That's the first situation in which they use debt. And see, they don't teach you this in school because most people say that you should use other people's money in order to make money, but they don't understand the context as a result of it. So you shouldn't just go out and buy or take out debt when you're cash flowing. The only time that you need to leverage debt is when you don't want to pay taxes on the money that you're making, because it's an incentive for you continue to plow money back into your companies, which increases your assets and your net worth while reducing how much money you have to pay in taxes. The goal is to reduce the amount of money that you're paying in taxes, not to leverage debt in order to make more money. The only time that you leverage in debt in order to make more money is that you prevent yourself
from spending money in assets and leveraging those assets in order to then buy things, because you don't have to pay money back on the loans that you then use in order to buy that $50 million house. So when you see them do this, they're not leveraging debt in the same way that black people is leveraging debt. And see, this is what I'm saying, right? Most people don't have the sauce. Most people, they don't understand how money works. So just giving a bunch of people a bunch of money when they don't truly understand it is really most of the time like giving a lottery winner a winning ticket. They wind up regretting it because they don't truly understand exactly how money works. Now, this don't have nothing to do with the reparations conversation. That's a completely different conversation. What I'm saying is that black people need to better understand and align themselves with people that understand how money works. The other way, I'll give you another piece of advice. The other way that people use debt is they use it within their companies in order to spin off certain divisions of the company, saddle it with debt, and then they use that in order to create an IPO so that they can create a healthier company. I'll give you an example, right? Let's say you have a company and one division of the company is online e-commerce, and then another division of the company. Let's say you take a Disney, right? Let's say you take a Disney. Disney leveraged debt in order to buy Fox's assets so that they can then create their streaming company. Now, let's say, for example, Disney decided, you know what, we want to create two different divisions of the company. And this is the part that they don't tell you when these IPOs issued. We want to create two different divisions of the company and want to spin that company off. Most of the time, they take the least profitable part of the company, they saddle that part of it with debt, and then they focus the majority of their efforts and all of their executive decisions on the company that's the most healthy so that they can ensure that they can continue to get their compensation. So they use it from a business perspective, and then they use it in order to make sure that they save money on taxes. That's how the rich people use other people's money in order to get rich, because they can guarantee it against assets that they've already created. So what I'm telling you is that if you're making $40,000, $50,000, $80,000 a month, it's no reason why you should ever be walking into a bank unless you're trying to figure out how it is that you can save yourself from giving the government legally money for free.
And that's the problem I was having. Thanks for dropping that game.
Yeah,
That's why we need to talk, man. That's why we need to talk, because I ran into that issue, but I ain't gonna just show up no more, man. I appreciate that.
Think about it like this. This is how you want to move. Everything that you want to do from here on out is to prevent yourself from having debt, because you're giving away free money and interest to companies that ain't doing nothing but servicing a loan. Black people in their habits of continuing to create debt is doing nothing but creating a long-term siphoning off of their money and their resources that prevents them from building wealth. Once you're making money and once you prevent yourself from cutting yourself off from that debt, that's how you then leverage your resources in order to build wealth. Now, it's a formula for that, and I talk about it inside of the Patreon and everything like that. But in a general sense, we got to cut ourselves off from thinking that we understand how debt works, when in reality, that narrative is a marketing slogan by the banks. Why? Because I know I've worked in banking for the last 6-7 years. It's a marketing slogan by the banks that then helps us to continue to take out loans against things that we don't even need. And we pay more in interest than if you was paying yourself in interest the amount of money that you're giving over into the banks, you'd be rich. We wouldn't even sit here and having this conversation.
I noticed that with my credit cards. I'm like, I gotta get this interest
But see,
off my
there's no
head.
reason that you should sit here and be talking about having a balance on your credit cards, because I guarantee you're paying anywhere from 16 to 27% interest. See, and we having the wrong conversations.
Somewhat.
If we spent more time having the right conversations and holding each other accountable of how it is that we spend our money, then we wouldn't even be sitting here having conversations and asking Biden for forgiveness on our student loans.
Agreed.
So, I don't know. But listen, I appreciate you. Hey, I'm going to check my DMs, and I'm going to check you out, big dog.
All right. Look forward to meeting you when I touch down, man. Thanks for letting me on the show, the broadcast.
Sure.
I appreciate it. And ain't
Thanks
nobody gonna talk crazy. Hey, look, and ain't nobody gonna talk crazy about Queen Rita. It'll be beef. You talk crazy about Queen Rita, I'm 6'5" and 210 and I can fight. Come see me at Crunk Gym in Detroit. You will
No,
not
we listen.
disrespect Rita.
Hey, listen. I appreciate the love, but the one thing that we gonna also do differently is we gonna do this. We gonna use this. We ain't using this no more. That's where we came from.
You
Now
right.
it's time to elevate and evolve because everybody is using this now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, you
All right,
gotta
big
think,
dog.
man.
I'm gonna rock with you. I appreciate you, bro.
Good looking, man. See you later.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, so that was dope. Shout out to my Detroit brethren that's in the building. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are absolutely awesome. Sid, I couldn't get you up here because I literally got to go and make sure that my dudes get picked up over from the airport. That's who was calling me when I had went mute. But I'm definitely looking forward to kicking it with y'all on Friday. And allowing for y'all to cam up because I want to deep dive into this reparations conversation because I think it's important. And I think that personally, and I could be wrong, I believe that we are focusing our energy on the wrong thing. We focusing our energy on the wrong thing. I think that the thing we spend our time getting outraged about is not necessarily adding value into our life. It's not adding value into our life at all. I think we need to reset and understand exactly how to think differently. And then that's how you solve for and win on every single front. And then you control everything else in front of you. Let me read these super chats so that I can acknowledge the people that support the platform. See, and just because we all having a conversation, just because we kicking it and we talking about different things or people got a different perspective, don't mean that it got to be toxic. It just means that we talk with people that think differently from us so that we can mine out and figure out how it is that we can learn more from each other so that we can be benefited as a result of it. Let me acknowledge these super chats. Shout out to Soldier Boy TD. Tall Definition is in the building. Says, I'll be coming to join the Bag Chasers. Please check your IG. My bad for the long message. Shout out to you for the 10 ball. Aaron says, I'm moving ASAP. He's talking about over to San Francisco. He also says, NAAC better shut up. I want my check. Mo Hilly says, you know, I'm a Patreon bag chaser. Anton, we need a Dame Dash interview. Y'all want a Dame Dash interview? Y'all want a Dame Dash interview? Oracle is in the building, says, please invite Professor James Lance Taylor, professor at the University of San Francisco. He is an ALA National Book Award winner and political analyst. I've never heard of him before, but I'm gonna rewatch this and I'm gonna try to find out who he is. Shout out to my dog Quentin, says, run me my reparations so I can buy a Lambo. Aaron says, if they don't want it, I'll take it. If they negotiate more later, I'll take the difference. Lenora's Holistic Healing is in the building, says, where would all of this money even come from? Do they realize how much that adds up to? And isn't the country in $31 trillion in debt? God bless you, Anton. You're absolutely right. The country is $31 trillion in debt. According to my Detroit brethren, they said that they want to steal it and take it away from, not steal it. They want to chop it off from the families that control the most money, and then they're going to take it and give it all the way over to black people. So that's what I'm hearing out here in these streets. Slim Tebow is in the building, says, my man said he want a tractor. I'm crying now. Twisted Up TV says, let me get $5 million. I'm going to take it back to the Midwest and open a studio. Y'all nuts. Hopefully it ain't a rap studio. Drew said, do you think student loan forgiveness will pass? I don't. I don't think as it's currently constructed within legislation today, I don't think it will pass, but I could be wrong. Razik says, yo, Ant, reparations is cold for Victim Olympics. Agreed. David Mosby says, thanks a lot for looking out, Anton, and appreciate all of the game given on the live, especially in the Patreon. Again, shout out to my fellow bag chasers. Give a salute to all of the Patreon members. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to you, David Mosby, for rocking with me. Also, D-Ran says, be careful, Anton, when you're a smart, rational person, they'll tell you that you're a non-FBA or a tether. Well, guess what? I don't care what they call me. Just never call me broke. Lord Commander is in the building with the 10 ball, says, just join. So it's anti-reparations. Our people are owed. Can't let America off the hook because they denied reparations when it should have been paid. Can't say it's too late now. Shout out to you, big dog. Is
Is that Tangeray 10 Gin and Tonic with the 10 ball? Says, ask homie if he married or is taking care of his kids. And if not, dismiss this man. No, we got to give respect to our Detroit brethren. We love our Detroit brethren. Greatness to Work says, every bank in America and also Wall Street all started from 400 years of free slave labor. It's technically our money. No, you lost. You got conquered. MLK last speech before he was deleted was saying, we coming to get our check. Well, y'all don't even listen to what MLK is saying today. So y'all, never mind. Let me stop. Point 5 says, send me 5. We turning it into 10. Y'all know y'all don't know how to flip no money. Y'all don't know how to flip no money. Stop it. Y'all better stop acting like that before I get y'all up here and start grilling y'all on the money questions. Aaron says the more tenable argument isn't slavery, it's the things that happened after slavery. Government participation in activities that were unconstitutional, Jim Crow, Freedmen's Bank crisis, redlining, urban renewal, and a war on drugs. What do you mean a war on drugs? I don't know. I'm figuring it out as I go. Let me read some more of these super chats. Let's get these busts down. Aya says, what makes black folks in debt think we don't sink deeper into debt once you get reparations? Just an honest questions from an African. Shout out to you. I appreciate my African brethren. Levite Apparel says, Anton, does Haiti get some money for helping fight the Civil War and helping America gain its independence from British in 1775? Or is it foundational blacks? All fairness is it is talking blacks that help. Ask the people that ask for reparations. Tangeray 10 Gin and Tonic says, I'm married to a white family, and he talked like he knows many white people that had so much more than him. He's lying. He thinks that white have it better. No, they are broke as well. I agree. I think that white people are broke as well. I don't know if he's lying, but I think that a lot of white people are broke as well. Aaron says, Anton, I'll take your check if you don't want it. Yeah, I bet you would. Razik said, listening to black folks or listening to folks whine about reparations is like listening to black women cry about finding a good man. The greatest opportunity to make money is now. Gideon, Truth Chaser Prime says, our residual dignity has been stripped and validation process has been cut off because of the absence of our fathers. Jay Benji says, no handouts, teach a man to fish versus giving him a fish. Robert T says the U.S. will give black people cash reparations once a week before we go to a cashless society. David Mosby says, with no discipline or financial or proper financial education, a counteractive, detrimental culture, and most important, no networking skills, reparation, or new habits. Bruiser is in the building. Shout out to Bruiser in the building. Says cashing out ain't the answer for the black problem. We need a controlled economy that only gives monetary access to black families that are law-abiding citizens and nuclear. So Bruiser threw a little bit of a wrench in y'all argument. He said, listen, only nuclear families. Shout out to Bruiser. I was watching you the other day cook up on the Lapeef Network. Treehouse, ENT, DJ Vapors, The GOAT Experience says, lucratively, word of the day at Natasha Vincent, land and resources people with the Steve Urkel avatar. Brock says, I know Aaron O got rose gold Rolls Royce in real life. You can't fool me, bruh. Thank you for the fireball and holding me down. Acadia says, white folks will counter with the losses they take having to shut down their businesses, uproot family, build new schools, escaping crime and violence. Dale McBride says, hey, Anton, do you know anything about the UCC, remittance letters, and affidavits? I do not, but I'm assuming that y'all can educate me on it because Anton doesn't know everything. Y'all forgetting that Anton is just a C student. I'm a C student. I don't know everything. Aaron says the war on drugs, when the government brought drugs in Iran-Contra and pushed it into our communities, but then also pushed mass incarceration. Shout out to Aaron for the clarification. I appreciate it. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Also, let me get Locatus of Clade Heavy. Let me make sure I get that super chat up in here. Says, all y'all talking crazy will be first in line to scoop up that check. Shout out to you, big dog, and shout out to all of my brethren. Why do y'all act like I'm super, I know everything. I am literally a C student. Roger Marine got smoke for Anton. He says, Anton / Stephen from Django, you eat and drink well. I do. Who's that nigga up on that neck? Who's that nigga up on it? Boy, if your father was here today, he'd be turning over in his grave. Spiritual Politics says slavery is 1619 to 1865 is 246 years, not 400. Nothing like getting the people riled up before a good old Tuesday. Other than talking about slavery. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all enjoy the greatest morning show on earth. We talk about a diverse group of topics, but the thing that we certainly do is we always understand that it comes back to the money. So this is what I want y'all to do. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to get rich by ourselves. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for contributing to the super chats. I see y'all hit me with the cash apps. I'm going to read those first thing in the morning. I got business to take care of because we running the bag up. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, I love y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.